Well, Mr. President.
For a second time. Barack, very nice to see you.
Congratulations. So how you doing?
I'm a lot better, Dad.
Yeah, I bet. Knew you'd win.
Oh, really? Oh, come on. Anyone could beat her.
Kidding
She's
me?
just...
I was just as appalled. You know what happened? He just didn't want to leave.
I know.
Is what happened. I did what I could to help her. She was horrendous.
I know. You know what I realized? Hillary still hates me. So much. I know. She'll never forget me. We should meet to discuss
I
things.
think so too. We can definitely set something up. Let me know whatever
Oh, the
works
golf?
best for you.
I was going to fly back to Florida tomorrow for the golf.
Okay. Did you see that? She won't even look at me.
Really? I was told some of her people. Apparently they said she fell off the wagon.
I think she actually may have. Sure. And also, she's not really built for this. Amount of pressure, if you're not built for it, will do it.
It's the Homeless Left with Matt Weinglass and co-host Jay Scott and Stephanie Pierucci. Episode 75, Saying the Quiet Part Out Loud. And here's your host, Matt Weinglass.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Homeless Left. I'm your host, Matt Weinglass, and this is our non-tribal approach to news network. And we're going Tuesdays and Thursdays now, so welcome to our very first Tuesday show. We're coming to you guys twice a week now, and we're excited to do that because we have so much going on. It's just better that we're coming to you guys double the amount of time. We can flush out the stories a little more, have more guests come on, and just keep the dialogue with you throughout the week. So welcome to you guys. First time watching, long-term watching. We love you all. We love you guys being here. Today's show, we're calling it Saying the Quiet Part Out Loud. That's because we're going to be going down some rabbit holes today of the California fires. We have some other rabbit holes as well, but in that regard, there's the Maui stuff, the New York, the North Carolina stuff, and the LA stuff all seems to be connected in a way. So we'll be joined later in the show by our special correspondent, Stephanie Pierucci. We're also going to be joined by another co-host, regular guest co-host, Jay Scott. So a lot of great conversations to look forward to today. We're going to look at Trump playing both sides on Israel-Palestine. Got a real fake news update. Looking at the LEAHY law, this is a very interesting one with MSNBC and what they're reporting on right now about Joe Biden. So we're going to get to that. TikTok ban is coming down the pipeline as well. So we're going to talk about some censorship issues as well. You know, we've been a victim of censorship, as you guys know, been watching us for a long time. So we battle that machine all the time, every day. And then later we'll have an all new loudest voice of the week. With that said, I just want to remind you guys where you can find us. If you're watching us right now, we're on The Homeless Left on Rumble and Twitter X simultaneously there. And we just started up a new YouTube channel again because the last one got terminated. That's right. There's no more Homeless Left, The Homeless Left on YouTube. That's gone, finished. We were too dangerous for them. We were too dangerous to have these conversations. So we snuck a new title in there and threw it up there. So if you guys want to help us out with that one, THL Presents. Shh, keep it on the down low. It's our secret channel. We're going to see how long we can get away with that one. And of course, locals, you guys can always help us support, show us extra support on locals. That's besides the liking, the sharing, and all that stuff, commenting. But we do love your guys' comments. We do take your comments. We read them on the air throughout the show down the line. So yeah, absolutely. Please engage with us. We keep that engagement going. And before we get started, just a quick reminder to anyone who's watching us today, welcome to this channel, The Homeless Left. I mentioned earlier, it's a non-tribal approach to news. This is for anyone who's feeling uneasy about the state of politics right now. Anybody who just is sick and tired of the tribal mentality, their party letting them down. You get pushback just for asking questions. If you're sick of that and tired of that, no longer want to play that game of identity politics, red team versus blue team, it's time to start punching up. All right, guys, stop punching down. Stop falling for the mainstream media narrative. It's just a bunch of propaganda. This is where we can gather together. The Homeless Left is a place for you, even if you're not from the left. We happen to be from the left. You guys, or we started from the left. Now we're here. You guys could have started anywhere else, wherever you come from, the right, the up, the down, the upside down. It don't matter. We're all homeless together. And there's a special type of homeless we're experiencing right here in LA. And that's why we have to consider that right now. As we've had this title, the name of the show is a very figurative expression of feeling homeless. And now we have people in LA here who are actually homeless. So it's serendipitous to say the least, and something that we do have to consider. And we're going to be talking about what more we can do as populist voices, what more we can do as independent media voices, and you as well being part of this movement. Again, no matter where you're from, take those tribal glasses off and start looking with your critical thinking skills. Again, looking at the world with that, and we can spot red flags way early. We can know who's up to no good before too much time has gone by. So we want to nip it in the bud early. It's never too soon to have a conversation. Don't listen to when they tell you that. That's what we're about here today on the Homeless Left. You guys know on Thursdays we generally do top censored news, so we're going to keep that on Thursdays. For Tuesdays, it's going to be a little more kickback in the sense that we're going to have a little more honest dialogue up front. So what we're going to do today, I want to give you guys an update on the LA fires. We broke this story last Thursday. We are 1 week and change already into this disaster. It's been a whopping $160 billion in damages, the greatest disaster ever in the history of this state. Possibly, they're saying the seventh disaster in the country ever. This is in the history of ever. The two fires are still going right now. If you guys don't understand that we're on day 8, day 9, day 8, day 9 right now, the Eaton fires out in Pasadena are only 35% contained. They have destroyed a whopping 14 plus acres. The Palisades, the one that started it off, that's still going at only 17% contained, and that has gone through a whopping 24 acres gone. And this is, again, we're still experiencing this right now. Both fires are on either side of us. We have 12,000 homes and businesses completely wiped out. They're gone. So what can we do about it here? So thank God our home studio is still up and running. And it's tragic that so many of our neighbors, our colleagues, people here in Hollywood, they've lost everything over the last week. Some people don't know the status. They're out at these shelters, evacuation shelters. So we're doing everything we can on the ground, whatever we can, having the conversations, going to the story. So we've been able to do that. So here's some of the stuff we've been able to do this week. If you guys missed it, we immediately had discussions with some of the people, the top people on this topic matter. We have a California's fire expert. If you guys missed that interview, that was with Leo Tumamate. He is a weather expert out in California, here with us in the Malibu area, goes way back. He spoke with us last week, me and Craig Pasta Jardula, talking about some of the nefarious activities that have led to some of this. We've also had great conversations with Kit Cabello over on Hardlands Media in Chicago. We were able to break this story with them out there as far as telling them what's happening here in LA in real time. Garland Nixon, we had an amazing conversation with Garland. We'll be back. I'll be back on with Garland on his show on Friday to continue that conversation. So we appreciate any of his audience that are watching us now. Thank you for coming over to the Homeless Left. We're all homeless together. One I just want to show you a clip of was Truthwire. So Fiorella and Craig Pasta were able to have their show happen at the same time. I was able to check in from the ground at the Eaton fires, which happened yesterday. Let's check out a little clip. They just shared it out on Truthwire. You guys can see the damage right behind me as we're trying to make sense of what is exactly happening here, just economically. What is happening to the people? How are the banks coming in and getting rid and making all this something that is very, very troubling right now to see the upward transfer of wealth, which is literally just about to happen. We're going to watch this in real time. This is me checking in with Fee and Pasta yesterday from the Eaton fire site in the zone. Here we go. literally in real time, but I think faster now. I think you have this situation here where the property is actually even more valuable than in Lahaina. You have the owners of these properties. They're in a position where they're going to take these deals from the banks. Why? Because the insurance already dropped them. State Farm has already dropped fire insurance off a lot of people here, and that happened months ago. So like you said, Fee, I mean, we can get suspicious and we can say, well, was this done on purpose? We don't even have to ask that question. We could just say somebody knew this was going to come. How do you explain the insurance companies dropping everyone just months before this? It sets people in a situation where they're desperate and they're going to take that offer. The bank's going to call them and say, hey, sorry, what happened? We're really sorry what happened to you. Listen, we want to take this off your shoulders. Here's a 10% offer your property. You can just walk away, take the check. A lot of people here are going to do that. A lot more, I suspect, than would do it in Lahaina, because in Lahaina you had a lot more people willing to take that make that sacrifice for their their family's tradition, the natives there. They were willing to tough it out more. I bet it's gonna be a lot easier to get this property off people here. Just take the check and run. So that's where they're at. They have no other option. So yes, that's exactly right. The banks will buy it up. BlackRock, they're all ready to do this. It's gonna happen pretty fast, is my guess.
Yeah.
I used to talk to people about BlackRock, Vanguard, owned Kamala, right?
Yeah, those are the conversations we're having now. We're not going to wait till later when it's more convenient. We're doing it right now. So we do appreciate the courage of Truthwire, Craig Pasta, Fiorella. We have, I mentioned Kit Cabell, willing to have these conversations now. This is no joke, guys. We're not going to fall for this stuff that we've already gone through. We've gone through this waiting game of Lahaina, this waiting game in North Carolina. We're not waiting. This is hitting home now, and we're asking the questions that need to be asked. And you can call all the names you want. You can talk about conspiracy theorists, this and that. You know what? That doesn't work on us anymore. You're not a conspiracy theorist to ask a question. We were taught in school there are no bad questions. Well, apparently there seems to be. If you challenge the state narrative, you challenge the propaganda thrown into your face. There's a lot we need to get into this. We're going to be discussing this more with our guests coming up, with Jay Scott, with Stephanie Pierucci later on the show. We're going to get to all of these issues. But just to be clear here, this damage is insane. This is not done. The fires are still burning as we speak right now. Let's see some of the effects that we can tell already. We know, according to Zello, we know that the housing rental increase has already occurred in the last 48 hours. The estimate is 15% hike has happened in the last 48 hours. That means that you have LA, which already was one of the top places to people that can't afford rent already. It's already was skyrocketed before this event. We're already at now 15% increase on top of that. We know that NEWSOM has been changing the zoning laws. He was working on that for a while. It looks like it just went through yesterday. So he's been able to change the zoning laws. He was meeting with these developers, and they were able to kind of push the law through, and their lawyers, they got the paperwork to change the single family unit to apartments. So if they're going to be rebuilding family homes, that's not even an option now in a lot of these areas, because they're going to have the banks buy them up and build these large condos and apartments, and you're only going to be allowed to rent. But how are you even going to afford that if the rent was already expensive, and now we're saying already a 15% increase, and that's only going to get worse as we go. Now, look, we know there's a lot of red flags here, guys. There's a lot of red flags from people, the insurance being dropped. We know that the water was not available for whatever reason. I'm hearing a lot of people battling about that. Oh, whether Newsom was his fault or whatever. Oh, Trump's being mean. There's so many issues there, but let's talk about on the ground, because there's one more. I got to get a shout out to Leslie, who checked into us from the evacuation center in Pasadena. So we know it was going on out there. That was in Eaton as well. That was the day before I did the interview with Fee and Pasta, but she was the first one to check it out from the homeless left, and she was able to see there's two things going on. On one hand, you have people that on the ground, residents of LA, that are showing up in droves to help people. That's the good news. You're bringing supplies, tending to these stray animals, people that need help, any sort of help. They showed up. As far as the leadership, they failed us, and that was absolutely clear. The other thing is of note, and no one else is covering this part. Palisades is the bigger fire. Eaton is also a big fire. Those are the two that are left of the 8 fires. Those are the 2 big ones that are left that are not contained at all. But for some reason, Palisades over Malibu, with all the rich, Hollywood elite people with all their, investments and, their high profile people that are tied with the media as well, because the media is tied with Hollywood here. That's where all the focus is. They don't talk about what's going on in Eaton as much. We don't get to see the Pasadena area too much light shine on the people that have lost their homes, people that aren't in the entertainment industry, people that aren't worthy of a headline of whether, whose house whether it was Tom Hanks or whether it was whoever lost their house, or who in Malibu right now, who's actually still evacuated, or their houses, they can't even come and go right now. But guess what? Eaton is just as bad in that regard. We did go over to the Westwood Center this morning, and I was able to cover that with TRT, with one of our correspondents out there. And I was able to find out that there is also a problem in the evacuation centers, at least in Westwood. I don't think so much in Pasadena, but in Westwood, these families that are coming in are very, they're very cluttered together. There's no real organization of them, so they're dealing with a lot of trauma right now. It's a massive problem right now for the families that are in these shelters, along with a lot of homeless people too. And so that's the other problem, is that you have homeless already in LA, already in Southern California. So they're also going to the evacuation centers. So you're gonna line up all these beds with these families that just lost everything, and right next to them is somebody with either drug problem, mental health issue, homeless person. There's no way to organize this stuff. So this is very dangerous, it's very confusing, very shocking time for people here. I literally just came from there in Westwood, and it was surreal, to say the least, what's going on over there. So it doesn't look like there's any real good way to handle this, other than more and more people just need to be willing to help. And we saw a lot of helpers out there as well. So a shout out to all the people that are rising up to help their fellow man, their fellow, humanitarian instinct that they have to do that, while the powerful people are hoarding all the wealth, and they just want more power. And so we need to be suspicious of that, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to cover more of that later in the show. Let's just get quickly, before we bring in our first guest in a moment here, let's get to the announcement from Biden earlier today, or I think it broke last night, but we got the clip right here. And this was a long time coming, because we knew that this announcement was coming. I actually have to say I was very, very shocked that it only turned out to be, drum roll, $770. Oh, whistle. I'm gonna do that. $770. So we had $700 for Lahaina. We had $750 for North Carolina. Let's see Biden announce it. Here we go.
To be clear, we're not waiting until those fires are over to start helping the victims. We're getting them help right now, as you all know. People impacted by these fires are going to receive one-time payment of $770, one-time payment, so they can quickly purchase things like water, baby formula, and prescriptions. So far, nearly 6,000 survivors have registered to do just that, and $5.1 million has gone out.
So, there's people saying, it's good he's getting on this now. I don't know what we're defending here, because getting on what? $770 check? Didn't he just say a few days ago that it was gonna be unlimited funds for whatever is needed for 180 days? Is this a backtrack? I don't know. I don't know if it's a backtrack or not, if it's an additional. But when you're talking about you hear what the language he's using. He's saying 770, not now, not later. Some folks think it's later. Well, the reason they think that is because that's what you've been doing with everybody else. So I don't know who you're comparing yourself to, like you're some sort of hero, Joe Biden, but you were the one in office when Lahaina happened. You were the one in office when North Carolina happened. So the idea that we're supposed to applaud you getting $770 check out to people, one-time payment, and you've only had a certain amount, 6,000 people that have had to submit the application online. It's the same garbage. We've heard it over and over. And, you know, for those who think, oh, he has got more coming this time, people are going to get more. It's very possible they might get more. They might have a lot more funds coming into California. Why is that? Because California is where, specifically Southern California, Hollywood, the Hollywood Beverly Hills elite is the biggest donor to the Democratic Party. So there's a loyalty there for Biden to make sure that he's taking care of those people to a certain degree. So that would be what that is. So if more money than 770 comes, which I'm not even saying I think is going to happen, but if it does, that's why. Other than that, no, they don't care about you. They don't care about any of us. Okay, this is just about protecting the elite, and that's it. And then pretending that it's for the people. But I got news for you guys. It's not for the people. Okay, let's. You know what? We do have. I did get news that there was an. Is there a new fire? Is there a new fire? What? I just got sent this. This is no, this can't be. There's a new fire. Please, somebody tell me if this is accurate or not. I'm gonna go to this. Hold on. This is from Nick Sorto. He's shared accurate information earlier. So let's see what he has to say. I'm gonna grab this right now. Holy crap. A new fire. This is from last night. Okay, let me grab this and put this up here. Okay, here we go. So it says breaking, a new fire has been sparked in Jardula Valley, east of Los Angeles. Holy crap. This was last evening. Fire crews are working incredibly hard to contain this quickly, but the increasingly strong winds are making that very difficult. Heroes. Okay, let's see some of this.
The dirt path, it looks like they've already worked to clear that away. You see more of the firefighters there working it. This gives you a great vantage point of what the firefighters do to actually burn or to prevent the fire from continuing to burn into that brush. And you can see how tall that brush is. Look at that. This is as tall, if not taller, than those firefighters. You can see them pulling up big chunks of the brush and pulling it away from the fire. That cuts the line there and keeps the fire from spreading in all directions. And there, it looks like, let me come out wider here and see if they're on that southern flank. It's a little hard to say or see through the fire. There may be firefighters in there, but definitely on three sides of the fire right now. They're working it hard.
Wow. Unbelievable. Well, I mean, I got to say, at least we're seeing the workers on the ground out there, the fire. I mean, I don't know how many of those are inmates. I don't know how many of those are getting paid, $2 an hour to be there. This is insane. So I'm looking up on the app right now. On the app, I'm not seeing this. Okay, so I'm going to pause this one. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you guys, if you guys missed last week's show, last Thursday, this is very important. If you guys have let me stop this here. So if you guys have anybody in the area, you want to keep tabs on them, very important. This is a screenshot from the app. It's called, what is this? This is the Watch Duty app. Here it is. This is a screenshot from the first night or the second night when we went live. So this is on Thursday. And this shows you a play-by-play in real time. Now, this is a little outdated, obviously, because you got these ones that were still up. The Woodley fire was still up. The Hearst fire, those are out now. But you can even see the Palisades fire on the bottom, the Eaton fire on the right. Those two are still going now. And this thing is 5-6 days outdated here. So the way you can keep track in real time. And if you want to keep track of somebody you're not here in LA, what you do is this, because we figured it out. You have to type in your location where you are, and then it's a little challenging because you have to zoom out and then go over to the coast, zoom back in. It won't show you this unless you tell them where you are located, and then you can get over here and you can look and see if anybody where they're at in real time, how many acres are burned, how many people where are they evacuated to, if they're evacuated, what are the chances of it, Every detail is there, and it's up in real time. So Watch Duty is how we follow this. I can't believe why I should be. I'm not shocked to anything these days. I can't believe we're still following this in real time. Like it's been 8 days, 9 days now, and it's still we're still having to track this in real time. So that's unfortunate. Okay, so that is our update right now. We'll be back. Actually, you know what? Let me throw up a few of these. This is got a few comments here. Yeah, this is oh yeah, of course, Leslie. Yeah, 770 one-time payment. Insult to the American people. What are you talking about? It's an insult, huh? I mean, that's $70 more than Lahaina, right? $20 more than North Carolina. They're getting better each time. Come on, we're getting better each time. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. Okay. Yeah, this is insane. No. So this is, you know what, Jungle Jer, we're gonna have to get to the bottom of this. Per household or per person? I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume it's per household. Why am I assuming that? Well, because that's what all the other ones have been, per household. So you have to present that you lost the property, and then that property gets registered. You can't just submit a person, because then people have all these people, and it's, you want to get one check, keep it simple, per house. I'm going with that. I'm 90% sure on that, but I have to fact check that one. But it's always per house. It's always per house. That's how we do it. Okay. Let's do this. We're gonna take 2 minutes, and we'll be right back with Jay Scott, and we're gonna dive into some more stuff here, guys, on the homeless left. We will be right back. Actually, let me queue up. Actually, I got a fun little I'm gonna play you guys a fun commercial. Oh, this is appropriate. We'll play you guys a fun little commercial from State Farm, and we'll see you back here in a couple minutes. This is hilarious. AI State Farm commercial. Here we go. Okay. Okay, we're back. We're back. Let's get it all set up here, guys. Thanks for joining us. If you just are tuning in, this is our first. We're trying out a Tuesday show with you guys. A little more kickback today. Oh, we did have a question here. Let's see. We got yeah, the new tune. Yes, all sentient beings. New tune. Yes. So this tune, we're in process of putting together a new opening for you guys, and actually, our next guest, our guest co-host Jay Scott, is helping us with that right now. So we picked out a tune, and we're working on a some lyrics and some visuals around it to fit our new theme, which is not really a new theme. It's just we've been developing it for some time now into this new year. We wanted to kick the year off and get this thing together, and lo and behold, we had to start the year with this fire. It's insane. It's insane. It does, as I said in the opening, guys, about the new tone to what homeless left can be now. It's pretty wild when you think of it in a literal way. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in our guest co-host for today, and we're going to talk about what homeless left means today in 2025 moving forward. Please welcome back to the show, Jay Scott.
What's going on, Matt? Good afternoon, man. Sorry I'm running a little bit late. We're providing coverage right now. I'm actually in LA for my job because of the fires over there. So, yeah, man, crazy times out there. So sad to see what's happening. You know, prayers and good vibes go out to everybody over in LA. You know, I'm sorry y'all have to go through that, but you know, it's kind of like, it feels like a repeat of Maui, just on an even bigger scale now. So, you know, it's crazy seeing all that.
Yeah, it does feel like we very deja vu. But this time it's personal. I mean, for us, it's personal. We're here. Yeah, I appreciate you reaching out about this immediately, and we were discussing this. But how weird, how odd the timing. We had our discussion about what 2025 was going to look like, working together and having, you know, part of this community, and how we can help elevate each other and others that, you know, are regular contributors to what we're doing here. And you came to me with this idea about this theme song and putting into lyrics what homeless left means. And you quoted, I mean, maybe you can help tell the story better, or at least just this. I mean, we're teasing people with, because we can't show it yet because it's a work in progress. But the fact that you pulled this Martin Luther King quote and you said this is what feels like represents this voice, the voice of the homeless left. And you use the lyrics. I guess it's hopefully going to be lyrics in this as it's being developed. But the quote is burn the house down. Wait, actually, let me have you say it. You'll say it better for me. The actual quote that you came up with before the fires.
So yeah, so the quote, you know, at the end of the song is pretty much, "We the homeless left because the house burning down. Time to get outside and build a whole new town." And essentially, what I'm getting at in that quote is that, you know, Martin Luther King spoke about the fact that he feels like, he felt like during segregation, the movement that he was pushing for was trying to integrate Black America into a country that was becoming more and more oppressive, aka it's a burning house. So he wants to get inside the house, but he wanted to get inside the house, but then he realized the house is on fire. So that was my inspiration for the quote. And I remember it was literally Monday night, like last week, Monday night, when I wrote down those lyrics. And then the next day, like, the fires started over in LA. So, you know, it's crazy, man. But, you know, there's power in the tongue. And it's funny because this is the second time something has happened to me, like along these lines. When I wrote my song called "Heal the Divide," which was talking about Kennedy's campaign, the original lyrics I wrote actually had called for Julian Assange to be freed, right? And the week I recorded that song, Julian Assange was actually freed. And then I had to go back and change the lyrics because I wanted to, like, make sure it was relevant. So I couldn't say, you know, free someone who's already, like, out of jail. So I went back and changed the lyrics again. So, you know, obviously my words didn't start the fires, but it's just crazy, like, the timing of it. And it's just even more encouragement for everyone out there. Make sure you're speaking positive. And that was why, you know, I'm glad that, we went through a few rounds to try to like perfect the lyrics, because I wanted to make sure it had like, a positive, message to it overall, and it wasn't just talking about the bad things. And that's why when I went and rewrote the song, I made sure I added a little bit more positivity, like in there too, about the goal that we're getting towards. Because yes, the house is on fire right now, but if it's burnt down, we have the opportunity to build back something better. So yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff, happening in Hollywood, over in LA. So who knows? Maybe this will be an opportunity for a less corrupt, situation over there in media overall, in movies, entertainment, and in media overall.
Yeah, well, it's not going to go back the way it is. We know that. So I guess we have to take this day by day. But let's look at something that came up. I want to get into this Biden. We call it a Biden red pilled moment. And I know that I've heard different different analysis of this, but I'm very interested in your analysis on this, Jay, because we always like to look for the layers and not just what is being said. Like what, and it's okay. We can do this, guys. We're allowed to do this. We're allowed to speculate and to investigate and not have the answers, but give our best informed opinion based on our critical thinking skills that we have right in front of us. So you guys, and our audience knows this. They know we're not, oh, you said it was this, and now it's, as we get more information, we can apply that, and then our opinions can adjust. And then when we're ready to report you guys facts, we report you facts. So in this case, let's hear it straight up verbatim, and then let's have a discussion about what is actually going on here. Because I'm absolutely curious about your thoughts, and you guys watching as well. Tell us what you think of this. Please ignore the music in the background. I was unable to find somebody that posted it raw. I hate it when people do that because I want to hear it raw. So just ignore the music. There'll be some text on the screen, but just try to listen to this for what it is as on its own. Here we go.
It looked to me as I traveled when I was out with you in California, what it reminded me of more of a war scene where you had certain targets that were bombarded, where artillery was just blew them up. With no rhyme or reason. In other words, you'd have this fire going crazy and burning everything down and 3 houses being fine. Nothing's happening. Or neighborhoods that were still green, and next to a place that, for example, we're just looking at a Secret Service house that was out there. All the vehicles are melted. Yet the house next door still has green shrubbery on it, and the house is fine. There's only, I think, 4 or 5 houses in that 200. It's in the Pasadena area. But my generic point is, it's almost like it's a battle scene.
But Mr. President, we saw that in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida with hurricanes.
Yeah.
This is also the nature of, to your point, this changing climate, these extreme weather conditions.
Jay Scott, what the hell is going on in that room there? What is Kamala so interested in getting in there and getting a word in? Please explain. What are you watching here?
It feels like Kamala just wanted to get him back on track because he literally compared it to a war scene. And like, I remember seeing some visuals coming out over there, and you're in LA, so I'd love to hear if you've seen this too, but I'm seeing like some videos and images of like big trees that are still standing, but then completely burned homes, like right beside the trees that are still standing too. So like, I don't know, something about it, does seem, off. But as far as Biden's comments in particular, I guess Joe forgets where he is sometimes. So, you do have the possibility of the truth accidentally coming out if someone is kind of a little bit gone. Plus, he's about to leave office right now. So maybe deep down, he wants to get at least a little bit of honesty out there. So who knows what could actually be happening. But from the way he's describing it, he does make it sound like it could be something intentional going on. So that was pretty surprising for me to hear when I heard that too. So But yeah.
Yeah, I agree that there was some sort of like in his elderly state of mind and he's on his way out. I do agree there's certainly seems to be a bit of rawness, like I don't give an F.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go with my, just instinctually what I'm looking at and not worry about consequences. I think that's the difference with Joe Biden. Forget the fires for a moment. We kind of seen this behavior since Kamala took his spot and he had that bitterness, right? He had that what the hell, did you guys just bait and switch me on this ticket? So there's been this resentment. We've seen that. But there's honestly this idea that there's no consequences. I'm just going to talk freely. I think that's what we're seeing here. So you're getting like an old man assessment. Like this is actually Grandpa Joe, like an actual Grandpa Joe, no position of power, just telling the people in the room what he saw in an honest way. I think that's what we're seeing. And again, guys, this is not about, this is, we have the proof. We have the proof right here. DEW proof. No, we're saying this is an assessment from somebody in a position of power that isn't picking and choosing his words in this moment. And we're able to have an honest critique, I guess, until Kamala cuts him off and says, remember? And I love that part where she's like, we've seen this in North Carolina. And she was trying to say, see the hurricane? And he interrupted her again. He goes, yes, I've seen that there too. And I saw it in law. So she unknowingly connected the dots even more for him because he wasn't even thinking about North Carolina. She brought it up. He's like, yeah, it's like I've kind of seen this disaster thing in all these places. It's kind of weird, yeah.
Remember, Joe, we have to remind people about climate change so we can limit how much food they can eat each week. Like if we don't use this to guilt trip people to eating what we want them to eat, because like you're excited for the bugs, right, Matt? If you don't want this to happen, then you have to start eating bug steaks. Are you ready for your roach steaks, man? Because Bill Gates, is cooking up the recipe right now, and we all know how trustworthy he is, man. So that's pretty much what I think they're trying to get at. Oops, sorry about that.
No worries. Well, I'm gonna play this is another it's kind of related because we're talking about LA. This is the WEF. Klaus Schwab is talking about LA, the plan for 2030. And I think this is important because this shows us, and I think you shared this out, Jay, this so I want your take on this and how we can kind of connect this honest assessment by our president and another president figure who's the head of the WEF telling us what's going to be happening in LA in 2030. Check this out.
Yes, Governance Summit. You will use the app like Uber, but not anymore to call some driver, but automatically guided car, a self-driven car, will come to your hotel or wherever you are and will bring you to the airport. No, Los Angeles is one of the cities with the heaviest traffic, who told me in 2030 Los Angeles will be private car driven free. And this will allow to transform highways into parks and other public spheres.
Oh boy. So let's connect these. And again, we know there's people out there that they might see these clips back and forth and like back to back. I mean, we just did a back to back of the president's honest assessment and then an actual breakdown of what's coming in LA. There's people out there I know, they're going to say, "What are you suggesting, Matt and Jay? What do you guys suggest?" No, we're gathering all the information. We're trying to understand what is possibly coming in the near future and how many people wanted this to happen. That's the other key. So what are your thoughts? And I know you shared this one out. That's very concerning, seeing that being said out in the open. But it seems that Klaus Schwab likes to stay stuff out in the open. So we're getting it right from his mouth. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it sounds like you're going to own nothing and you're going to be happy. We're going to speed that process up to make sure you don't think that you should own a car. We're going to burn down your house. We're going to stop you from driving private cars. And yeah, like you're going to like take our new public transport system, which, we're not going to have information on who's controlling you know, the cars and what they can do with it if they want to reroute people. So me personally, I don't really have too much trust, you know, in them controlling that, you know, kind of system. But it reminds me again of what happened in Hawaii, because Hawaii was also supposed to be another 15-minute city. And it feels like, you know, at least with these most recent natural disasters we've had, like there are huge connections to like gigantic global agendas, you know, like in the areas that these worst disasters have happened in. Like in North Carolina, there were a bunch of mineral deposits, you know, inside the area that people didn't want to leave. And now all of a sudden, we're I believe from what I heard, they're going to be mining up some of those minerals that they couldn't get to before because people were living there. So like I don't know, it feels like natural disaster after natural disaster winds up benefiting like the same group of people every time. So I'm not saying I know for a fact, you know, Klaus Schwab sent goons out there to like light stuff on fire. That's not what I'm suggesting. But when you look at the overall situation in LA, the water reservoirs were empty. They knew some of the water reservoirs were empty. They knew some of the fire hydrants weren't working properly. They knew that there was a potential for this to happen, yet they did nothing about it. They cut the department budget for the fire department. Like it seems like either it's complete gross negligence to the level where you cannot allow the people in power to get power again because they're so bad at their job. It's either that level of negligence or intentional corruption. So I don't know which one it is, but if they're that bad at their jobs, they shouldn't have those jobs, because there's, even if climate change is played a large role in this happening, LA was completely unprepared like for it, and everyone knew that this could happen, yet they took no steps to make sure it didn't happen, or they could respond properly if it does happen. So why would LA want incompetent leaders like that? I'm not saying vote for Republicans, but I am saying maybe look at some independents, like maybe look at some third parties, because the Democratic Party is just a party of, at least we're better than Republicans, but they aren't even better than Republicans on every issue. On some issues, they might be slightly better, but not on all issues. So yeah, it's a race to the bottom right now. We got to find a way to break that.
Yeah. Now you mentioned the minerals out in North Carolina. We did cover that here on the show. We had Wyatt Reed on the ground in North Carolina at the time, covering that from, you know, from the gray zone. So we're not joking around, guys. When we talk about you know, BlackRock, we talk about these Raytheon, these companies coming in there, grabbing this land, taking those minerals, and so the lithium one that stuck out to me as something I put in the back of my head. And then I saw this. I'm going to play. This is, I didn't know we were going to go this far down the rabbit hole today, Jay, because we have some other stuff to get to. But I think it's important you see this. I don't know if you've seen this or if you guys are seeing this for the first time. They're literally talking about lithium in LA. Check this out.
The hazmat, we have found a underground lithium battery storage plant for bicycle batteries that has posed a huge hazard in that area. We are working with the hazmat teams to keep that contained. So a lot of that is just very dangerous. As you just heard, the air quality in some of that area is still very, very high and dangerous.
I'm sorry. Did we hear that correctly? Do we need to hear that again? In case you guys missed it, this is from the 12th. It's 2 days ago. This is an Eaton Fire update, right? From the official reporting on this lithium that they found, and they have to contain it because it's dangerous. This is dangerous, but he's not reporting on it because of the things we're talking about. Who's gonna get a hold of that? What's it gonna be used for? He's talking about, no, this is dangerous. This is gonna cause more destruction. So it's an innocent reason to tell us, because it's an honest reason to tell us. But we're saying, why is that the thing? Why is that the thing that comes up? Why did that come up in North Carolina? BlackRock buying up all this property is going to own this stuff, grab these minerals and use it for what? I got to hear him say it one more time in case you guys missed it, and then I want your thoughts on this, Jay.
With the hazmat, we have found a underground lithium battery storage plant for
an underground storage plant. lithium, an underground. We found it. I mean, Jesus, man. We discovered this. So this is an honest report of what we found. Holy crap. What I don't even know what to say at this point.
I mean, it's a common theme. And just to exemplify how important, like lithium is to the oligarchs, I don't know if anyone remembers Elon Musk's favorite quote about we'll coup whoever we want. Well, he was referring to the government of Bolivia when America was being accused of fomenting a coup over there because they wanted to protect their lithium reserves. But all that was over lithium because lithium is one of the main components that the Tesla like cars need, and it's used in all these rechargeable batteries. And if they want to usher in the Internet of everything, the Internet of Things, where everything is connected, they're going to need a lot of lithium for that because they need to create a lot of batteries. And the saddest part about all this is there's actually other options on how we could create these batteries, and we don't even need to be using lithium. It's just that I feel like, to an extent, the ruling class likes creating war over minerals, but you can actually create hemp batteries. Like you can use industrial hemp for the same purpose, like that we're using lithium for. And if you look at hemp's impact, like on the atmosphere, it's carbon negative. Like it takes out a lot more carbon from the atmosphere. And it grows faster, I believe, than almost any other plant that gets that big. It grows very quickly, and there's so much we can do with it. Yet they never talk about those possibilities. They keep focusing on these limited minerals so they can turn us against each other and create more wars over resources, because the more instability there is in the world, unfortunately, the better it is for them. But lithium is definitely one of those resources that they've been putting a lot of energy into. So it's sad because even to achieve their stated goals, they don't need to be causing this, but they go down that road anyway because they want to keep us, oppressed. And, I don't know, man, it's crazy.
And Jay, their tricks, they got so good. They got so good at dividing us. They got all the I mean, we're seeing every single playbook. Let's do the Trump versus Newsom, the Blues versus the MAGAs. We're seeing the climate change coming out and saying, oh, this is something you guys, if it's Republicans' fault, we knew this was coming. We've seen okay, I think we lost Jay here for a second. No worries. We will get back to him. But yeah, I'm just gonna, he'll be right back in. Little technical issue. We've been having those out here. Okay, here we go. We got him back. Yeah, no worries.
Sorry, guys.
No worries. We've seen all the tricks. We've seen what they're able to do, how they pit us against each other. And now you mentioned the arson thing too. They're doing that too. This is I think the arson thing. We don't have time to get into that one. You want to do? Yeah. You know what? I want to show this. So the arson situation is, I believe, there's a lot of speculation here as far as how many people were actually doing it on their own, how many people were set up to do it, how can there be a coordinated effort like this? Or they want us to believe that all these independent people by themselves decided to go out and start all these copycat fires at the same time? I think they're doing it to create an answer, to contrive an answer for people who are asking a question they've never asked before. The people in the blue side have never had a question about anything they were told until now. They go, that's interesting. Climate change is crazy, but I've never seen this many fires start at the same time. So they're starting to use their brain. They need to answer that question. Turn on the TV. There's the guy getting arrested for arson. There we go. Oh, sorry for questioning you guys. Of course, it's a riffraff person doing it. A homeless person doing this. I'll get back in line. I'm back on the assembly. I'm sorry for asking a question. I think that's what's going on here.
And when you think about it, even when you see those kinds of vulnerable people doing it, if you were a rich person and you wanted to get something done without it tracing back to you. All you have to do is pay someone like that in cash to go do something. And even if they tell the story about what happened, oh, it's a crazy homeless person. So it's plausible deniability. It gives them cover. So hypothetically speaking, if they wanted to do something like that without it tracing back to them, that could be a way for them to do it.
Well, let's see what happens, because we know there was several arrests, all parts of LA. I'm going to show you guys one of the arrests that I think it occurred because the people in the town got together and they got him arrested. And then you're going to be surprised how this one ended. This was a red flag for us. So this is the original arrest. And I think it's because people participated and they made it kind of like a group thing. So here we go. It is silent here, I believe, in the clip, but you can see so the people are coming together. It's like a citizen's arrest. It's a group effort. They see the guy, they come together. Here we go.
He started the West Hills fire because that was started at a parking lot. He's going to come over here and light up this area.
Oh my gosh. No, this is crazy. I can't even believe it. Because I'm like
a 30-year-old guy,
Crazy. Because I'm like, how does a fire jump literal cities?
I know. I can understand there, but all the way over
exactly.
to West Hills,
that doesn't make any sense. Okay.
All right.
Thanks for letting me know, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we followed up on this one, and they didn't have the guy's name, but we placed it with these are all because they didn't know at the time. We were waiting for the follow-up. This is a massive curveball here. And I don't know if you know what's coming here, Jay, but they let this guy go. This is insane. Watch the explanation. And it's reminding me of a little January 6th infiltration situation. And it's reminding me of a little Ray Epps-ish I don't know. That's just my take. Watch this justification why this guy had to be let go.
They responded, they interviewed this suspect. After the interview and additional investigative steps, looking at some additional evidence that was present, they made the determination that there was not enough probable cause to arrest this person on arson or suspicion of arson, and therefore this person was arrested on a felony probation violation. This investigation is ongoing, however, and I'd like to thank those community members that were involved in this and helping us bring this person to our attention, and so we can have an ongoing investigation. The second point I want to talk about.
Wow.
That's
unbelievable.
Crazy to me. Like, there's huge fires going all over LA right now. You catch someone literally trying to start any questions for him, you're just gonna let him right back out there before you even contain the fire. Like, isn't he an immediately direct threat, like, to large amounts of people in LA if they caught him trying to start a fire? Like, how is that not an immediate threat to people? That makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah. So it really asked the question, what was the whole, I mean, maybe this is a guy they didn't want to have caught, and the neighborhood got together and did it. So then but you couldn't look into him. It's very Ray Epps-y. If you guys know, you've been watching, we know that this is a guy who actually pushed people into the Capitol. We have every bit of evidence for it. He was on the FBI wanted list for January 6th, and then they take him off. And there's no explanation for that. So you start to wonder if there are things put in place in order to cover these bases, check these boxes, in order to keep us pitted against each other. And again, it's like, if you've been a climate change person, and no strike against you, I get it. We all want the climate to be okay. We want our Earth to be okay. So it's one of those things where it's an important issue. If you've never questioned whether that thing was being used against you at all, and then you had this curiosity, I don't think 8 fires popping up in January makes a lot of sense at the same 48-hour period. This will answer that question. So if you guys are confused about this, why would they have somebody out there ready to be arrested and let go, or just have somebody get a shot on the cell phone? If you just get that out there, they'll go, oh, there you go. Now I can stop asking that question. And all those conspiracy theorists out there with all their DEW talk and all their HARP talk, F them, I'm getting back in the assembly line. I'm going back to work, and climate change. So that's what I see. But again, there's other arrests that have been made. There's other people that are being charged. And that's an ongoing thing. But it's just interesting to see people like this just being let go. So Jay, I think we have you for a little more time here. Do you want to? I think I'd like to change over to one of these other topics. How you want to get into the censorship, or you want to? Is that?
Let's do it. That was some big news coming up from Zuckerberg this past week. So some mostly positive, but the negative is definitely eye-opening. So yeah, we should definitely get into that.
Okay, so we have Mark Zuckerberg, as you guys know, had gone on the Joe Rogan show. Many people watch it, and he's on there to do. I mean, it's clear, he still has this relationship enough that he can go on the show. Joe Rogan's the kind of guy that doesn't really say no to an interview, especially somebody who wants to come on, and he didn't think he got heard as well last time. And he wants to explain, because we got him on a couple of those clips of that last interview he had where he's admitting to meeting with the FBI every month and getting instructions, and he said no, they're not instructions, they were more like suggestions. And Rogan was like, are they suggestions? How many of those suggestions did you not listen to? He said none. That was a big moment. I know he wanted to make up for that and come back, save some face, but we did find, and we didn't have a chance to watch this whole thing. So I apologize if viewers, if you guys have seen the whole thing, or Jay, if you've seen it. I did find this one clip. So let's start with this, and I want you to drive this one from here. But this is Mark Zuckerberg, a clip from him on Rogan. Again, he's like, this is like round two. Let's see how well he does. Here we go.
These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse, and it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
Did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we but I think
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails. the emails are published. It's all kind of out there, and they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They wanted us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're going to see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, like this sort of like class action lawsuit type meme. And they're like, no, you have to take that down. And we just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true. And then at some point, I guess, I don't know, it flipped a bit. I mean, Biden, when he gave some statement at some point, I don't know if it was a press conference or to some journalists, where he basically was like, these guys are killing people. And I don't know, then like all these different agencies and branches of government basically just like started investigating and coming after our company. It was brutal. It was brutal.
Wow.
Thoughts, Jay Scott?
Yeah, so all he's trying to do is put all the blame on Biden, right? But the truth is, this started under Trump. Like, I remember I was doing a live stream talking about the COVID vaccine, and talking about COVID, early on. And I had mentioned the Nuremberg Code, and I was doing this live stream only on Facebook. I was doing it to my Facebook audience, and as soon as I mentioned the phrase Nuremberg Code, live stream got cut. So for him to suggest that this is all on Joe Biden is patently false. It's definitely not like only on Joe Biden. Trump people in the Trump administration participated in censorship before. They were the ones who created the emergency use authorization.
Yes.
They were the ones who did the CARES Act. So all it is they want you to think that the problem is over. Now that Biden's out of office and we got the good guy back in who's against the deep state, which is Donald Trump, you have nothing to worry about anymore. And the truth is, Trump might be marginally better on some issues. In my opinion, he's worse on some issues too. But when it comes to censorship, Trump has expressly said that he wants to prosecute people who are quote unquote anti-Semitic. And now we have written into law that anti-Semit, like if you consider yourself an anti-Zionist, that can be classified as anti-Semitic. Now, let's just think about what that means. Zionism is a political ideology. It's actually racist and discriminatory to tie a political ideology to a race or an ethnicity. It's like saying, it's the equivalent of saying it's the equivalent of saying if you're black, you got to vote for Joe Biden. It's like for Jewish people. Like if you're Jewish, you got to be Zionist. So you can't tie a political ideology to a race and an ethnicity. But the people Trump is putting in power are gung ho about censoring, criticism of Israel, and they're using the phrase anti-Zionism to do that. And even in Mark Zuckerberg's revelations, like when you listen to the interview, one of the parts that stood out the most to me was he said, "We're getting rid of the fact checkers, except for Israel. Like, we're still going to crack down on anti-Zionism, not just anti-Semitism." He used the phrase anti-Zionism. We're cracking down on anti-Zionism, but we're going to allow free speech. We're going to, encourage political talk. Just don't talk about Israel. So, yeah. And really quick, again, for those who've never heard me talk before, I'm half Ashkenazi myself. I have nothing against Jewish people. I do consider myself to be anti-Zionist, but I have nothing at all against Jewish people. It's not about the people. And I don't even think Zionists are the ones running the world. I think they're a useful tool to the most powerful people in the world, and they're the battering ram that's being used by the forces behind them, because there is a group of people who do strongly believe that they're entitled to that land, in my opinion, because of brainwashing. But that's a whole nother rabbit hole.
Yeah, and we should be allowed to have these conversations and give our speculation. And you have a right to say, I think there's somebody controlling them above that. And somebody else has a right to say, well, I think it stops. I think the buck stops there, without anybody being racist or as you get this special word. It's a special word, anti-Semite. It's separate from being racist. But why are we talking about that? It's these are deflectors. These are protective tools, and we see it all over this. Weaponizing diversity. We see it all the time, right? If you don't vote for Obama, you're racist. If you don't vote for Hillary, you're sexist. If you don't vote for Kamala, you're racist and sexist. So there you go with that. But it's like this is a technique that I think the left continues to fall for. I hope they can wake up to this soon. Let's look at this is an analysis. I like this tweet from 5 times August. Here's an interpretation. I love this. I was like, screw you, government. You can't tell me what to do. But then I do what they told me to do. And then I mandated everyone at my company to get the shot. And then I donated $400 million to help get Biden elected. But rest assured, the whole time I was doing it out of protest. That's about the long and short of it. Yep.
Great, man. I don't know if you heard, shout out to 5 times August, man. I'm a big fan of his song, Ain't No More Rock and Roll. I don't know if you heard that, but that was a real good song expressing what's happening right now in the music industry. And you remember the time when musicians used to rebel against the establishment? Doesn't that feel like so long ago, Matt?
It's so long ago, Jay. The last time we had somebody stand up against the establishment, COVID was, look, we're on YouTube right now. We're on a new channel. I don't give a crap. We're going to talk about this for a moment. But COVID was a moment of truth, I would say. Who stepped up? I can only think of a handful. You got Eric Clapton. You got Van Morrison. You got Ice Cube did it in his own way. I don't know if he wrote any music, but he certainly was vocal. He walked off the set. Why is this important that we name these people? We got to figure out who else. I can't think of too many more. But what I can think of, Jay, is I can think of all the people that took the paycheck from Pfizer and made a little appearance on some stupid, gimmicky special where they dancing around with vaccine costumes on, and they were going, get the shot, whether it was Ariana Grande or whoever the hell, dancing around, telling you what to do. Music is supposed to challenge that. So it was so crazy. Can you think of anyone else? I know I was happy to see Ice Cube, Eric Clapton, Van Morrison. Those are big ones. Is there anyone else to give us some hope? There was somebody else out there at the time.
So there were one or two people. I don't know if anyone remembers Lloyd Banks from G Unit, but he actually spoke about it a little bit in some of his music. Big Sean, who I think most people are familiar with. He is the guy dating Janae Aiko. If you heard of her, he spoke about it a little bit too. But they never really made it like a pressing issue that they wanted to like speak out about. They just kind of mentioned it in passing, in a few of their songs. But Big Sean and Lloyd Banks did speak about it too. But again, they're not actual people who are in the spotlight, I would say, at this point in time. They're not, the people who are getting the most radio playing, the most attention. Some people would argue, they're like a little bit on the tail end of their careers. I think, they're still pretty great rappers. They're still releasing music, but they're just not the ones you're hearing on the radio now. When it comes to the radio, like I remember the guy, what's his name? The guy, anyway, they talked about it in songs, man. Like, can't wait to get my shot so I can travel the world again. Like I forget the Tyler Hero song. You remember that song? It's with yeah, it was anyway.
Yeah.
So it's completely gone from counterculture to pushing the establishment, and that's no accident.
Yeah. And I'll never go ahead.
Yeah, really quick. I just want everyone, while we're on that topic, I just want everyone to look up the common ownership between private prisons and record labels. And it both leads back to the same corporations that come up all the time, BlackRock, Vanguard. So that's something people should remember.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And, and that was a time we talked about COVID. We also talked about this pushing of the Ukraine war. We're supposed to have more people against that. So I was reminded of another popped into my head. We got to give a shout out to Roger Waters. I mean, there's a guy who is anti-imperialism, stands up against his whole band, all Pink Floyd, and he says, you know what? I'm on the right side of it. I'm on the side of humanity, and like that always ages very nicely when you can do that. And I know people don't understand that. Like, do you guys want your tweets to read well years from now? Do you want to be able to be proud of what you fought for and stood up for? Yeah. Just follow Roger Waters' example. He's always on the right side. You know who's on the wrong side? As far as anti-imperialism goes, they're on the side of pro-imperialism. Paul McCartney. He at the same time, Roger Waters was saying this Ukraine war is a proxy war. You got Paul McCartney going around. He was right here in Orange County, just south of us, going around, just lifting up this big pole with a Ukraine flag, and he was like just struggling it around the stage, and everybody was like, yay. And I was like, are you effing kidding me? If John was alive to see that, he'd be like, Paul, what are you thinking, Paul? This is embarrassing. And Paul would be like, there's a reason you're dead, John. There's a reason. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, John's the one that had the courage. You're still alive, lugging a big Ukraine flag around. What type of musician, poet, somebody with a voice are you at the end of your life? It's insane to me. But yeah, Roger Waters, let's add him to that very, very short list. Yeah. Let's look at the TikTok thing. We're gonna probably cover that more when we get closer, but we do know that the date is coming up. Can you tell us, just to kind of tie a bow on this, and why do you think there's some timing to this of why Zuckerberg's being vocal right now about changing the platform? What does he have to do? Is this completely independent? But this is what we know. We know that the TikTok ban looks like it's coming to fruition. It's going to happen very soon from now, on the 19th. We'll see. We're going to keep tabs on this, but I just want to let's tie this together. Is there significance, if at all, Jay, on the timing of this coming down the pipeline with Zuckerberg making these changes at Facebook?
Yeah, I think for sure, especially because when you look at the reason why the TikTok ban is happening in the first place, when you look into the arguments, coming from the ADL. They're essentially saying TikTok is one of the main reasons why young people are against Palestine. Are turning against Israel because they're able to share the information and it's going pretty viral on TikTok. So these social media companies are going to be directly competing for that attention time. So the attention time that was going to TikTok now is either going to go to Twitter, it's going to go to Facebook, it's going to go to Instagram, maybe Blue Sky. It's going to go to one of these other apps. So they all want to position themselves for those people who are going to be looking for the next wave of video content. They all these social media companies are competing for that, and that's why it's funny because Elon Musk just announced essentially that they're launching a feature that is pretty much comparable, from what I understand, to what TikTok does within X. So right now, you have like the For You feed, you have the following feed, and then they're going to have a media feed. So there's going to be 3 feeds that you can go to, and when you click on media, from my understanding, it's pretty much going to be like a TikTok style thing. So Mark Zuckerberg is essentially coming out and saying, hey, we already have Instagram Reels. He didn't tie it together like this, but we know Instagram Reels exist, and that's also another form of like that video content. You guys who were putting political content on TikTok, come do that on Instagram Reels, because he said they're no longer going to be deboosting political content, but he made sure to add in there for all the Zionists and the lawmakers who want to protect Israel. He made sure to add it in there that, oh, we're still going to censor anti-Zionist and anti-Semitic content. So they want to have the best of both worlds, and his phrasing from how he described the rules of enforcement moving forward tell me that he's trying to have the best of both worlds. And for those who don't know, he wants to implement like a community note style, community note style fact checking, I guess you could say, on Facebook, where users themselves can present information, and it's not just like a select group of quote unquote fact checkers. So he's taking Elon Musk's model a little bit there, which honestly, I do think if you're going to have any type of fact checking on your platform, that's probably the best way to go. So I am in favor of that. I just think we need to include Zionism as just another political ideology that can be critiqued or supported depending on where you stand of it. But we shouldn't have one political ideology elevated above everything else that cannot be critiqued at all. Like, America is a quote unquote capitalist country, and yet we can critique capitalism, but we can't critique Zionism, a political ideology that's supposed to be in support of the existence of another country. It doesn't make sense, especially when that country wouldn't exist without our tax dollars. And that's just my opinion. I don't think Israel would exist if we didn't give unlimited support and unconditional financial and military support to Israel, because all they've done is cause trouble throughout that entire region. And other countries know if they attack Israel, they got to deal with America because we support them unconditionally. And that's the only reason they still exist.
Yeah. No, that's a great assessment. And like, we should know this instinctually. We should understand that you can't say we're going to change things up, we're going to stop with these fake fact checkers, but we're going to make this exception. We're going to make this exception. It doesn't make any sense. And you guys, if you haven't been paying attention, if you haven't gone down the rabbit hole, you understand our relationship with Israel as Jay's talking about. And actually, let me bring this back here. So if you guys haven't been fully paying attention to that and understanding this relationship we've had with Israel, as Jay's mentioning, this should just sound the alarm on you anyways. Just this. How can you be for changing things up? Like, hey, we're sorry about how things went before. We're going to change it up. We're going to make sure you guys have a place to speak and be free, except for anti-Semitism. Well, why would you do that? You're not doing that for anyone else. What about any other quote unquote minority that has issues that for their community? Why are you not mentioning that? Why not LGBT? Why not? So what is the significance here? is this you having a heart and protecting people that can't protect themselves, or is this you taking instructions from your handlers, from the people that handle your ass? And I think we know the answer to that question, but we want people to just be a little more curious when they see.
That's a great point. You can literally talk about anybody. You can talk crap about black people, white people, LGBTQ, anybody, but anti-Semitism is the one form of discrimination that will not be tolerated. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts. No one else is suffering. No one else is suffering can compare. And that's the lesson we've learned. And me too, as a Weinglass, you guys know, it's something like I'm like, huh, I guess I've had a life of suffering, but I don't really feel like I have, which is very interesting. That's another, we've talked about that on the show. I'm not sure if that really lines up with my experience, but that's just one guy's experience. I have not felt that. In fact, in Hollywood, it's actually something that helps me a lot getting into rooms. I've told people this. I get meetings that I generally don't think I would get, but the name helps me for sure. It really does. And to be very clear, it's a name that was pulled out of a hat by my mom, so I do not actually have any ancestry of any sort at all in that time. I am a European, Eastern European descent, but and the name's just a name, and I haven't complained about it. No, I haven't felt any of that. And that's just, again, my experience. Jay, do you think this TikTok ban is going to happen? Is this going to go on the 19th, or is there a way out of this? Are we ready? Are people getting ready? Is that what's happening right now?
To be honest with you, my feeling is it probably will, especially because, Trump has said one of his, top concerns is, censoring, quote unquote, anti-Semitism, across the board. And if we know that TikTok has been, one of the biggest sparks, for the pro-Palestinian movement, then it does seem like it's a problem for them. So my guess is yes, but again, I never want to discount the power of people. And if there are enough people against it, and we do see some major mobilizations over the next week, then maybe they won't go through with it. But another thing that I think is interesting, and I think we were supposed to, get to this for the last topic, but is essentially the fact that Trump is now retweeting Jeffrey Sachs, or sharing, Jeffrey Sachs' criticism of Benjamin Netanyahu. So it seems like there may be some trouble in paradise when it comes to Zionism. However, my honest opinion, again, there is Trump wants folks to take a little step back because he can read the room about what's going on right now before they take a big step forward. And the only reason why I think Trump still wants to take that big step forward with Zionism is because if you follow the money trails around Trump and you look at his history, he seems like someone who cares a lot about money. He surrounded himself with Zionists. His quote unquote favorite daughter, Ivanka, who he seems to favor above, some of his other kids, is married to someone who's invested in the destruction of Gaza. So overall, the ties make me feel like he's going to go in that direction when it's all said and done. But I think, there is some fatigue in America right now, specifically, when it comes to sending weapons to Israel and Ukraine, as our country is literally burning down in front of our eyes. So I think he's picking up on that vibe right now.
No, it's a very accurate, honest assessment where we're at right now. And I there's people that voted for Trump that were worried how far he'd go in one direction. It does look like to me, it looks like he's playing both sides. I'm going to cover this in a little more detail, probably later in the show now, because we got to get to our next segment here. Our guest, Jay, would you be able to circle back later on if we're still here and help me with that discussion? Because I want to go further with that because we didn't have time to get to that.
Yeah, for sure. I do have to go to work, so I don't think you're going to be on. But yeah, I have to work for probably about another 4 hours today. But if really quick, if I could just leave your viewers with one thing, to see my handle down there at JS Ascension. If you go to my Twitter page under the highlights, you'll see the top story is actually a quote from an Israeli journalist who's on TV arguing for rape as a tool of war. So all of the things that they have accused Palestinians of doing, there are elements, extremist elements in Israel who support literally all the things that they try to label all Palestinians with. And if you've never heard of something called the Greater Israel Project, I urge all of our viewers over here, Matt, everyone on the homeless left, go look up the Greater Israel Project, because that's what your tax dollars are going to be going towards if we don't snap out of it. Because it's not just Gaza and Palestine. It's Lebanon, it's Jordan, it's Iran, it's parts of Egypt, it's parts of Turkey, it's parts of Saudi Arabia. Like, there is a large segment of Israelis, at least, I would estimate at least 15 to 20% of the population, maybe more, who believe that they are owed a huge chunk of the Middle East. And a lot of those people are the ones in power. So it's not just about Palestine. It's not like if we get a ceasefire in Palestine, it's all, thank you. That's exactly what I wanted to pull up. Like, they want to take over gigantic chunks of the Middle East because they feel like God promised them this land thousands of years ago. So they have the right to kill everybody and move everybody out of this area so they can go take the land that's owed to them. So I really want people to understand this is about more than just Palestine. If that wasn't enough, the suffering of all those people over there, if that wasn't enough to get you to care about this issue, if you're interested in self-preservation and the preservation of America, the amount of money that we would have to spend supporting Israel in this project is astronomical. It makes no sense. It'll further bankrupt the country. It'll further inflate our currency. So if you don't care about Palestinian people, but you care about Americans, then you should care about the Greater Israel Project. So go look that up and recognize the situation is a lot more complicated than one side good, one side bad, but one side is clearly a colonialist, oppressive side. So I hope everyone does a little bit of research on that. But thank you, Matt. Let me go jump back to work. Keep doing the great work, and I'll be recording that song this weekend. So your viewers are gonna have some pretty good music to get this vibe up and running.
We love it, Jay. We're looking forward to having you back on and sharing the music, and we're gonna be putting this thing together. It's the house. We're the homeless left. The house is burning down. Get your ass outside and build a whole new town.
Exactly.
Love it.
All right, man. Let's do it.
Awesome. Thanks, Jay. We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Okay. Bye-bye. That was Jay Scott. He's going to be a regular contributor to the show moving forward now that we're on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we'll look forward to seeing more of Jay. And we have a lot more stuff we wanted to get into with him, but we just, hey, guys, this is how it goes sometimes. The conversations go. They go longer than we hope for. And we have to get to the next stuff. Thanks for sticking with us today, guys, on the Homeless Off, our first Tuesday show. We've been talking about the LA fires. We've been talking about Zuckerberg and TikTok. We're going to get back to some of the Trump stuff. We have to get into that. We're going to get into that a little later, but I do want to get back into the LA fires right now because we have more of a connection to this than a lot of people realize, not just because the homeless left is right here in Los Angeles. It's because the homeless left has been here in LA covering these type of disasters in other locations like Lahaina, which you guys know, we've been out there. We've been looking at that from the ground, going into the no-go zone. You're not allowed to go in. We went in anyway. We looked at the rubble. We looked at it. One of the reasons we're able to have access and go there and make something happen is because of one of our other correspondents who is here with us, back with us today, who's done some great work on Lahaina and the Lahaina fires. And now we are just going to discuss the relationship with Lahaina to LA. I'm very much looking forward to this discussion, going down a rabbit hole again. Please welcome back to the show, Stephanie Pierucci.
Hello, Matt. Thank you so much for having me. As always, it's good to be here.
Absolutely. Stephanie, good to have you here again. We have done some adventures together, focusing on Lahaina, some other stuff as well. But that story never goes away. There's people that wanted us to kind of stop talking about Lahaina because it was wasn't that already solved and we already figured that? No. And you stayed on the story. You have can you tell us about the current project you have going still with that in our, because we're finding different ways to tell that story, whether it's documentary storytelling, publishing, writing, getting the human story out there. Where are you with that right now? And then I want to move into how is that relating to what we're dealing with right here in LA over this last week with the LA fires?
Yeah, I mean, right now my phone is ringing. I should probably put it on silent. My phone is ringing absolutely nonstop because everybody is now saying, hey, Steph, you wrote the playbook for land grabs. And I did it over the course of 2 books, Burn Back Better, as well as Sound the Alarm. And now everyone is saying, wow, you know what? You actually weren't crazy. They're burning down LA right now. And it looks like everything that happened in Lahaina is happening again in Palisades and other places in Southern California. So what we're looking at right now, from what's burning, what's not, the patterns, the satellites, I mean, the behavior of the government, the behavior of the mayor, everything is almost identical to Maui. And at the end of Sound the Alarm, I said, y'all, watch out. If you're in a zone that is going to be redeveloped, or they have plans to redevelop it for a smart city, you better move. I have people calling me today saying, I'm putting my house on the market. You were right. They're going to level it. If they didn't already level it by fire, they're going to get me right after the fire.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you were 100% out in front of this. And I can imagine your phone's blowing up right now because it's like, this is the see, I told you moment that we're seeing in real time. And we're here in LA watching it happen right here. We've had some in-depth conversations about it. One thing I learned from you, Stephanie, and we had the courage to do this together, was not wait for some time to go by, not do this whole fall for this line. And you guys have heard this line. You guys know what I'm going to say, that now is not the time, or too soon. Mm-hmm. We don't fall for that garbage. We ask the questions that need to be asked immediately. And we've been doing that for this last week here in LA, as we're in the middle of 2 fires that are still going. We have 2 fires. We're in the middle of them right now, the Eaton fire and the Palisades fire, still not even close to being contained. Not even close. We're still at the containment right now. According to the Watch Duty app right now, Palisades is still only 17% contained. It's burned through 24 acres. It's insane. Total in California, we've lost 12,000 homes and businesses over the last course of a week. 12,000 gone. Yep. This is insane. The damage, we're seeing estimates of $160 billion in estimates. And we've already seen the rent hikes. We've seen Newsom pushing the zoning changes, getting rid of single family units. We've seen there's so many red flags here. It's unbelievable, Stephanie. And I don't even have to tell you, like you're not surprised at all. You saw this coming. Did you see this coming though? I got to play you this clip of Newsom literally telling us about a conversation with none other than, drum roll, Josh Green.
Oh,
he's telling us about their conversation. Let's take a look. This is insane. He's telling us. We don't even have to ask the question. He's answering it for us. Check it out. Here's Newsom. And watch the swaying too. The guy loves to sway. Here we go.
Myriad of issues. I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
In a matter of days, not just weeks. Yeah, because this has probably been planned for years. And the other thing about that swaying, do you remember when Bill Gates got on air in March of 2020 and he said, we're going to get a vaccine, and he and his wife are giggling and smiling, and they have no They have no chill. Like, they're the worst liars ever. It's, if they're not telling us we planned this, we're going to make a killing, we're going to rake in millions, if not billions of dollars on this scam, they're telling us with their body language. He's giddy.
Yeah. Oh, he's totally giddy about it. Some people are saying that body language means that he's nervous. He's like no, he's actually excited because he thinks that this is good. He thinks he can use this type of language. And another clip I don't have in front of me, he's talking about LA. We're going to rebuild LA 2.0. I mean, this sounds right out of the WEF playbook. I'm going to play that. We played this earlier in the show, but I want to get this one up for you again because I don't know if you saw this. We're trying to connect the dots here in LA specifically about the 2030 plan. And I kid you not, Klaus Schwab himself said out loud, this is the plan for LA for 2030. I want your thoughts on this. If you haven't seen it yet, here we go. This is, LA plan for 2030. Here we go.
Yes, Governance Summit. You will use the app like Uber, but not anymore to call some driver, but automatically guided car, a self-driven car, will come to your hotel or wherever you are and will bring you to the airport. No, Los Angeles is one of the cities with the heaviest traffic, who told me in 2030 Los Angeles will be private car driven free. And this will allow to transform highways into parks and other public spheres.
2030, LA, because we have so much traffic, so condensed, so much population, so much. We got to rebuild everything by 2030. This is 5 years from now, Stephanie. Is anybody else connecting these dots? I mean, obviously the people that have been paying attention to Lahaina, and these are the conversations, the people blowing up your phone right now. These are people that want to know about this. Do you suspect it all? Because I'm not seeing it here. I'm not seeing people new to the table that were completely unengaged up until now. Now they're waking up. I don't see a transformation just yet. I'm hoping so. Are you getting any text? I guess I want to ask you, are you getting any texts from anyone who's never reached out to you about Lahaina or anything else until the LA fires? Or is it the same people that are already awoke?
That's a really good question. I've had a lot of people who have called and said, I'm worried. Like, I had someone call this morning from a parking lot, and she's freaking out and getting nervous. And she's like, well, what do you think? Is Boulder next? Is Austin next? I'm like, yeah, look at your local legislation, look at what bills are being proposed, look at what, is on the table in your local government. And if they're being assertive about a smart city development, get out of town. This, it's really clear that all of these different places, Acapulco included, with, Hurricanes John and Otis. I mean, these are all places where they were being assertive about the smart cities. And so most of the people who are seeing these fires, they have already woken up. And what we saw in Maui also is the same thing we've seen in California. It's one of the most indoctrinated states when it comes to climate change. And so people who believe in climate change, people believe these are natural fires, they're going to double down on that, because there's been so much programming and propaganda for them to think, well, this is our fault because we're driving cars, for instance, to refer back to that Klaus Schwab clip. But I have a friend that I spoke with a few minutes ago. She said, my home is on the proposed railway line. Although it would surprise me if they let you travel by rail more than 2 miles from your house eventually, because they're going to make these prison camps where you have to walk everywhere. And she said, I'm putting my house up for sale immediately because they're going to demolish it somehow.
Yeah. So I would say this, if the climate change people are going to just double down on that, how do they explain the part about the reservoirs being dry? How do you explain the insurance companies dropping people? How do you explain the NEWSOM just money going missing? $26 billion was missing. We covered that before New Year's. We were covering 26 billion gone that was supposed to be for homelessness. That's gone. How do you explain Karen Bass with nothing to say? She was out of the country. She comes back. The paper trails a mile long about all the cuts of the fire department, the 17.6 million gone, firing people for not putting a jab in their shoulder. All of this, there's so many red flags. That if you were to take it for face value, Stephanie, if you were going to say, look, we still believe that climate change is the number one problem here, how do you maneuver? How can you circle that square about the fact that nobody did anything to prepare? So like, if we go with it, we say, no, this was inevitable. We should have seen it coming. Nobody was doing anything about it. So why didn't you do anything? The Democratic leadership of this state was supposed to be for climate change policies. Why wasn't that reservoir full? Let's just start with that. Why the hell wasn't that reservoir filled? And how can somebody who believes in climate change not understand that that's something that you don't seem to have an answer for?
Yeah, I mean, with regards to the water, there was all this. The waterways were restricted to protect smelt, and so what you're seeing is a lot of people are saying, well, the reason we have this problem with the water is because we have this problem with, the fisheries and the biodiversity, and we have problems with, the atmosphere, and we're just we're just trying to keep afloat, and we're just trying to save the world, and the climate's changing. And so they're not associating this with, well, no, we diverted water. Same thing on Maui. We diverted it. What you see here is this classic allegory of the cave scenario. So you've got these people who are looking at shadows. They're not seeing the fact that we relieved all these firefighters of duty. I think it was 300 firefighters were relieved of duty for not taking the jab. Yeah. They're not seeing the fact that we restricted water due to this smelt population protection program, whatever it was. They're only seeing shadows, and the shadows are telling them we're doing everything we can, but the climate change is so big and so powerful that we can't even stop it. We're getting buried. There's nothing we can do. They're only seeing shadows. So they're not talking about firefighters. They're not talking about Karen Bass. They're not talking about any of the Smart City LA. The Olympics, the 2028 Olympics for LA, they planned on redeveloping Palisades in order to create more structures for the Olympics. Yeah. Where? You've been there. Where are you going to build? Where's that land coming from? Yeah. It wasn't there. It was pretty densely populated. You built about everything you can build. So people just aren't connecting those dots because they're only looking at the shadows. They're only seeing the fake news, the propaganda stuff. If they haven't learned to ignore those shadows, if they haven't learned how to find the truth, so to speak, or if they, if they don't know where to look, I don't know if they're going to look by now. It's just really the point where it's up to us who are awake, who are looking at the truth, who saw thousands of homes leveled into white ash and are asking, how on earth did a natural fire get hot enough to level homes, turn them into white ash, to burn hundreds of homes simultaneously, which is completely odd, while leaving trees and, coincidentally, blue trash bins untouched. If people, this is a really, there's no scientific explanation for things being reduced to white ash in a brush fire or a natural fire. It's not possible. It needs to burn so hot. If people aren't asking these questions, if they think this is natural and they want to continue to believe this is natural and Mother Earth is mad at us, just don't know if they're going to wake up at this point. We've just got to move forward. And the people who are awake, get them out of these places where they're planning these smart cities.
Yeah, no, 100%. I just, if people that haven't seen the images, we were gonna throw this up front and do something with it, but I think it just needs to be played raw. We haven't showed this clip. This was sent to me. I don't know if it made it on Twitter or not, but somebody sent this to me. I'm just making, man, I have so many different stuff to look through. It's crazy, Stephanie. We've been on this the entire week, barely been having any sleep, checking up on people, seeing their status, people still in evacuation mode, or on standby. There's still people on standby with their bags packed. They still don't know where this wind is blowing right into their backyard. It's still a week later. And so
they won't know because the wind is going in two different directions. That's what's really frightening right now. It's completely unnatural. There's wind crisscrossing. And what you'll see is in a hurricane, wind is going in one direction. In natural weather patterns, the wind is going in one direction. Right now, we're seeing it come from multiple directions. This is something that we've seen in other disasters that is unnatural and makes absolutely no sense. Winds are not going to move in multiple directions. And so where is the wind going to go? We've got our bags packed. There's no way of predicting it based off meteorology because something fishy is happening with the weather.
Yeah. Well, let's look at what it actually looks like from inside. I don't know if you call this a burn zone. This is a disaster zone. We are literally in a disaster zone, guys. This is insane. Watch this. Let's keep that playing. I'll throw the music on that. This is our backyard right now. This is insane. How does this not look like a disaster zone? Earlier in the show, Stephanie, we showed a clip of Joe Biden admitting in his old senile age with nothing to lose, apparently no consequences. He's just running his mouth saying, oh, it looks like a disaster zone out there. It's insane. I mean, he was telling this. It's just insane that he's admitting this. And Kamala had to interrupt him. I don't know if you saw that clip. Kamala had to interrupt him and say, oh, no, but Biden, just like what remember we were talking earlier? Come on, Grandpa Joe, remember we were talking earlier about the climate change thing and North Carolina with the hurricane. And so Kamala, she brought up North Carolina accidentally, thinking it was going to distract me. Goes, oh yeah, that one looked also like a disaster zone. It all looks like a destruction, like it was like a war zone. He called it a war zone.
Right.
No, you're not. No, Mr. President, you're not supposed to use that language. War zone. But that's what it is. We're seeing this footage was sent to me. I don't know. I guess the guys handled it that shot it and edited and put this on. But the point is that is in our backyard. That's right here. This is happening right now. And how can we not have these questions? How can we not be asking what the hell? Who wanted this to happen? This is insane, Stephanie. I
think I told you offline. One of my dreams the other night, I was just sitting there praying and I thought, what if we can find one of these guys with the blowtorches, one of these arsonists? And it was similar on Maui. We had arson as well as weather engineering, as well as what appears to be directed energy. We have a similar, the playbook is almost identical, it looks like, in California, where we have arsonists in addition to other things that were put in place, actually starting fires. And some of them have been caught on camera. I don't know if that's because people are more aware and they're pulling out their phones or whatever, because they're more skeptical now. They've seen this happen in a few different places over the last 18 months or so. but I want someone to catch one of these arsonists and sit them down and do some sort of crafty cowboy lie detection and get them to talk and tell them, you know, and let us know who's behind it, because we are not interrogating these people.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea. I didn't even think this is interesting, because people's instinct when they see the arsonist, their instinct is to get them, restrain them. It's called a citizen's arrest, where you hold them down, you call the police. Problem is, when the police arrive, you give them over and the police let them go the next day. I'm not shitting you guys. I had to say it. I'm not shitting you guys. This is actually happening right now. We played this. I'm going to do this again. If you didn't see this, Stephanie, this is the townspeople getting together for a citizen's arrest. And I'm going to show you what happened the very next day. So check this out. Yeah, there's no sound at the beginning, but you're going to hear the people talk about it. Like, we got them. Like, and this is people saying, we saw you. We saw what happened. Now, you can think this is just a dude on his own, whatever you want to say, copycat, mental illness, homeless, sociopath, whatever you want to say. You can pretend it's on his own. But look what happened. So the town, and rightfully so, they're proud of themselves for being heroes and giving this guy over.
West Hills fire, because that was started at a parking lot. It's going to come over here and light up this area.
Oh my gosh. No, this is crazy. I can't even believe it, because I'm like
a 30-year-old guy, you know.
Crazy, because I'm like, how does a fire jump literal cities?
I know.
Yep.
I can understand there, but all the way over
Exactly.
to West Hills,
that doesn't make any sense. Okay.
All right.
Thanks for letting me know, guys.
Yeah.
And what happened next? The very next day, check this out. Same guy.
They responded, they interviewed this suspect. After the interview and additional investigative steps, looking at some additional evidence that was present, they made the determination that there was not enough probable cause to arrest this person on arson or suspicion of arson, and therefore this person was arrested on a felony probation violation. This investigation is ongoing, however, and I'd like to thank those community members that were involved in this and helping us bring this person to our attention, and so we can have an ongoing investigation.
So we can ignore him.
Second point I want to talk about.
So I think you were right there, Steph. That's not. Next time, don't.
Those citizens need to take homeboy, put him in a room with no windows, and do some cowboy interrogation. That's what I'm praying for.
Yeah. Now, if we're going down the rabbit hole, let me put the banner up. I like this one. You like it. This is the we are going down the rabbit hole. Here we go. Going down the LA fires. Okay. So with that, I would say, if there's something, we've talked about MK Ultra on the show before. We've had Mel K on. We've discussed this lengthily of the ability we have. We know these techniques, these military techniques. They could go way back to the 40s. We got them from the Nazi Germany. We've implemented into our CIA. We understand that even if you did that, Stephanie, I mean, it might be some wishful thinking if you think, okay, we're going to do some cowboy style, but what happens if these people are, I'm not saying this particular one was, but I'm saying it's very likely there's people out there that are mentally in a position where they're doing something that's beyond their control. And after they're done doing the thing, they're not going to have much memory of it. And we know this, we've seen this happen with assassinations. We know Mark David Chapman's in jail right now for killing John Lennon. He has no memory of it. We know that RFK Jr. even apologized. He what did he say? He accepted, he forgave the murderer of his Sirhan Sirhan. He did that for his murder of his father, of RFK Sr., and said he understood that there must have been something else at play. So do we even have the power, even with that great idea you had, Stephanie, do we even have the power to fight this type of advanced military operation? If even you get somebody in a room, are they even going to have the ability to tell you what they didn't even know what they did? And again, we're just speculating here, but we know this technology is available. If this doesn't work, what else can we do?
Well, you've got all of these intrepid citizen journalists on Maui who have gotten a lot further along than you or I will ever go. In fact, They know things you and I don't want to know.
Mm.
And they're approaching this new government as we speak to say, we think we know who's at the head of the snake. We think we know who is behind this. And so I agree, if these people are MK Ultra, if that's like a verb, but if these people are MK Ultra and they're not going to remember anything, the good news is there are paper trails. Even though this was so well planned, it seems, there are paper trails and there are people following those trails. So you look, for instance, on Maui at the Maui Community Investigation Team. These people are working day and night to get, they're interviewing nonstop. They're collecting evidence. They've got thousands of hours of footage from, fires, et cetera. They've got, defected whistleblowers, whatever. I don't want to know everything. I want to be able to connect the surface level dots for the people who are doing the hard work, because that's not me. I'm not on the ground in LA. I'm not on the ground in Hawaii. But I agree with you. We might not be able to get the actors, so to speak, to tell us what's going on, but we can connect dots and then, eventually figure out enough to do two things. Number one, we need to provide evidence to the teams that are investigating, who do have their mouths up to the current administration or the upcoming administration's ear. And so putting together these dots is critical. And then number two, we have to do everything we can to vote down anything related to the sustainability and the smart city and all of this. Now they're pushing these things through in communities under the guise of affordable housing. So there's all these really sweet, right? Because they're not showing up as a wolf. They're showing up dressed as a lamb. They look really sweet and fluffy and innocent, but they're little devils. Mm-hmm. And so we got to be aware of how bills and how resolutions and how legislation is getting passed through. And it's because it's sugar coated.
Yeah. 100%. There's one thing before I let you go, Stephanie, there is one last thing, and this is a hopeful topic, because there is one thing we can do 100% right now for ourselves if we find ourselves in a situation like we're here in LA. And I know you've been covering this topic, obviously, because I introduced it earlier with the Lahaina investigation team telling these stories of these disasters that are happening to us, not just because they're happening to us intentionally. Mm-hmm. You're also in the health and wellness community, the medical freedom community, and we understand how important our health is right now, dealing with the breathing of the air. Isn't it interesting, Stephanie? And I'll tell this to the viewers. Do you guys think of this? Isn't it interesting? For 4 years during COVID, they boarded up basketball hoops. They put sand in skate parks. They told us to stay home, don't go outside, 6 feet from each other, wear 3 masks, wear 4 masks. It's your health. It's your health. It's your health. Never once mentioning the things we knew: vitamin D, sunlight, body contact, physical activity. The list, we've covered this so many times on the show. Isn't it interesting in a time like this that here we are? We're in LA here, and I have not heard one mention of the environment, the atmosphere that we are breathing into our lungs. If you want to talk about cancer-causing stuff and stuff that's going to be bad for our health and cause death and disease and horrible stuff, not to mention. Kind of makes you wonder, maybe they never really cared about our health in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Every year, hundreds of firefighters, hundreds of former healthcare workers, first responders, Good Samaritans are dying of cancers and leukemias that are directly attributed to the 9/11 event over 20 years ago. And so one of the things that whenever I'm asked on radio, podcast, whatever, to give my opinion about the most important thing that people need to know about the Lahaina fires, I tell them 120,000 lives are at risk on Maui. Every single person within a 50-kilometer radius of a fire like this is inhaling extremely deadly toxic particulates. They go into the lower lung. They are indetectable. And so one of the things that the Firefighter Cancer Prevention Fund helped develop with an organization called DCOMPAC was a way to, hopefully as best we can, detox or eliminate some of these toxins. Every single person within a 50-kilometer radius of any of these fires needs to be taking something like DCOMPAC. I'm sure you can spend more money elsewhere, but DCOMPAC is basically sold at cost. It's like $20 per quarter. And I'm taking it just because I've been close to fires here in Colorado, right, and because, you know, we were in the burn zone together in Hawaii, but I'm taking it quarterly. And I'll tell you what, it's better than almost anything I've spent so much money on, you know, parasite cleanses and heavy metal cleanses. This stuff is phenomenal. Everyone within a 50-kilometer radius of the fires needs to be taking this, because right now, people who were near 9/11, oh my gosh, over 20 years later, are still dying of complications due to the event in New York. So I would say DCOMPAC, far and away most effective thing that I've seen, and it's recommended by people I trust who are in disaster recovery. The first person who told me about this, it was Sam Eaton and Steve Slepcevic, and they have worked in more fires than anyone. I mean, they're at every disaster. And so they recommended this to me. And I can't recommend it enough to people, but I can't force people to buy it. I wish I could just get the public health departments to care enough about the people to recommend that people get something like DCOMPAC.
Yeah.
But public health, I wouldn't call them serving the best interest of our health.
Right.
So this is what has been recommended to me from the world's leading disaster response recovery teams.
Yeah, no, this is great. And this goes back to, you said, to 9/11, because we still have people still suffering from that. And so a lot of time and effort and research and you know, heart and soul and, you know, blood, sweat, and tears has been put into this to get this, because we're not getting this from our public health officials. We know the gameplay. It's the sick care system, not the healthcare system. We know they don't actually want us to detox. They don't want us to intermittent fast. We talked about this all the time. The things that actually cleanse us. So I'm looking at this right now, Stephanie, and I'm saying, man, oh man, we're here right now in LA, and like we have an air purifier here in the house. Me and Leslie, it's good to have that when we're inside, but outside is awful. And like, even if we can't see the smoke so much as we could a few days ago, this is in our lungs now. You were talking about small little particles. You know, now would be, hey, if you want to implement mandates on masks, wouldn't it now be the time, Gavin Newsom, Fauci, for LA, if you wanted to? That's so funny they didn't do that, or that they did that to us at the wrong time for a virus that could go right through a mask. This maybe, I don't know. Can I ask you about that? Do you think an N95 would actually stop some of this? Because I'm going to order this thing too, but I don't know. I'm unsure. I'm unsure what to fully know about this, because nobody is telling us. Like, this is all we got, and I'm going to go to this website and get this, but I'm so,
for a variety of reasons, I've been told the N95 is not going to be as effective as what you need. But I'm not a doctor, so we can talk to, you know, maybe an infectious disease specialist. You can have Dr. Kelly Victory on your show at some point. She would be the person to ask. I can put you guys in touch, but the thing that's more frightening, Matt, about where you and your beautiful bride Leslie live is the fact that during 9/11 we were not constructing consumer goods and tchotchkes with as many synthetic materials, and that stuff is more toxic and than if we were just constructing things with like wood, let's say. So it's actually more dangerous today than it was 20 some years ago, because we're using more synthetics in the construction of furniture, etc. So I don't know if the N95 would help. I would, like I said, talk to Dr. Kelly Victory would probably be a great person to discuss that with. But, you know, it's not the kind of thing where you can go get a blood test and say, oh, really high in aluminum. This is not stuff you can detect from a blood test. I think that's what's really scary, is that it's really, really fine toxic particulates. And because of all the synthetic stuff, it's more harmful. So if public health gives a rat about the public, they're going to tell them that don't wear your mask and think everything's going to be okay. Don't wear your shoes in the house is another really important one.
Oh, we already do that. That's good. That's good. I love it.
Yeah. Don't wear your shoes in the house is really important. But yeah, just get serious about detoxing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that, Stephanie. You were the first to have that conversation with me, because no one else is. I mean, obviously we want to make sure people are alive and they're in one piece, but we talk about, hey, at least you're alive and you have your health. Do we though? Like isn't that the first thing you ask with people when they been in a car accident or something happened to them? You say, but is everyone okay? Right? So we think about physical, then we think about mental. We don't really look at inside. Like we think, oh, are your bones broken? No, okay, you're good. You feel okay. We'll figure out all the other stuff. We'll figure out the car and the insurance and the the doctors and lawyers. What about your health? Like the health. So after a fight, so we're having these conversations because no one else is, but we want people to think, to get more used to talking like this right away. So when you're checking in with your loved ones, when you're asking them how they're doing, you should be bringing this up immediately. What are you doing for your lungs? It
doesn't make for a very sexy soundbite, but it doesn't make for the most, salacious content. And that's what pisses me off sometimes about some of our biggest creators on the internet.
Yeah.
Some great podcasts, monster, awesome content creators that I largely respect, but they're not talking about stuff like this because it's just not sexy.
Yeah. Well, we got to do it. We got to do the dirty work here sometimes, and we appreciate you. Appreciate you coming in and helping us with that. Here's some other stuff you guys can do. If you're out in other parts of the country, you're seeing what's going on here in LA, and you're looking to help us out. Now I feel bad. This is going to be a punchline. This is a joke. I didn't mean. Okay. Here's what you guys can do. We need water, guys.
So sad.
We need water.
Oh my
God. Fill up your envelopes. Send us some water because NEWSOM forgot to fill the reservoirs. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. The smelt population needs that water more than y'all. Sorry, California.
But you can do this if you guys want to fill up give us some water. Put it in an envelope. Put your name on it. Love whoever we know where it's from. And send it out. Put it California, and we'll receive it. We'll get it. Put one stamp should do it. Just get it to us, guys. We appreciate it. That's what we could use from you guys right now. Little water.
It reminds me of when I was working in Austin. I don't know, back in like 2010, and a couple guys that I worked with were constantly checking the PO box, and I'm going, what's so important that you got to go to the PO? Are you getting gold shipments, silver coins? And they're checking from California and Colorado if they got their Bud X. they're looking for weed in the mail.
Hey, you got to get your, get it on, like however you can, whatever it takes. So yeah, the mail can be usweul, guys, for certain things.
I appreciate traveling with you, Matt. We were just talking about this recently because, we're largely sober, with the exception of the occasional, toast or whatever. But, you're interesting day or night. You're never bonking out and smoking up. And man, here in Colorado, I get real sick of people just not being present, not being interesting, not having good conversations. And that is my soapbox for the day. I have got to go get my little man from school, but I want to let people know that if you do, I know we're having a little bit of fun because it's a serious subject and it's making us uncomfortable. And we have a lot of friends who are in danger, but on a serious note, at themauibook.com. I do have a playbook on the globalists' use of natural, quote unquote, disasters to grab land. And I do use examples besides Maui, including other countries and other continents where similar playbooks have been used. So the entire playbook to steal land through an alleged natural disaster, that is at themauibook.com. But if you're not going to read the book, that's fine. Just make sure anyone you love who's in Southern California grabs Decompact. It means a lot to me that we protect future generations, especially the ones who are awake.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Go to decompact.com. Grab this stuff if you're in the LA area. Grab it for a loved one if you want to send it to them. And actually,
right.
for real, put that in the mail. Put a stamp on it. They will really, really appreciate it for you. And then, yes, themauibook.com. We love the fact that we're able to tell these stories with you, Stephanie, and that you're out ahead of the catastrophe before it happens. So it's the work's been done. Boots on the ground, going to where we need to go, and there's power in numbers when we do this together. And we're able to do this outreach to so many different communities within the community, or the adjacent communities, as they say.
Yeah.
But we're all doing the same type of work. It's a real populist movement. We don't care what ideology, where you come from, what you're about. It doesn't matter as long as you understand that it's time to take the tribal goggles off and start thinking with our critical thinking skills again, and a real people's movement, challenging the power, challenging the globalists, all those pieces of crap. We're taking them all on together. Thank you, Stephanie Pierucci, again, for your time with us here on the Homeless Left. We look forward to having you back with us soon, hopefully in a better time for us to talk more crap on the globalists and keep going with our projects. And yes, MauiBook.com. Check out Stephanie. We'll see you back here soon.
Okay, stay safe. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thanks, Steph. Bye. All right. Great Tuesday show so far. Let me throw up a couple of your guys' great comments we got today. We're not officially doing a talking back. We'll do that with Leslie hopefully next time when we can align with her. Let's do some. Oh, here's Jokers for You. Thanks for tuning in today, Jokers for You. We got a lot of great comments here. Did anyone watch the TV show series Billions? Yes, actually, I think I ended up seeing like the first 3-4 episodes, and then I kind of stopped. But that was on Showtime, I believe, about 10 years ago. Paul Giamatti, the guy from Homeland. Oh my God, that's Homeland, the one with Claire Danes. Yeah. Billionaire hedge fund orchestrating event strategy to simply make more money. This could be who is primarily behind these events. Hedge funds. Yeah, actually, great point. I'm glad you threw that out there, Jokers for You, because we know that the reservoir is actually got a privatized. I don't know who's funding the company, but they control the action of that. So a lot of times you can have these political officials who are voted in to do the work for the people and protect our land, use our taxpayer money for what it's supposed to be used for. They can't really do anything when these. I guess they might be related to hedge funds. You might be right about that. How are they able to capture these and give them for privatize these systems that should not be privatized? How the hell do you privatize water? How the hell does one family, happens to be Zionists, how the hell does one family, one couple, own 60% of the water in California? How is that? It's like the 5th largest economy in the planet. Did you guys know that? Did you guys know California was the 5th largest economy on the planet? How does one Zionist couple own 60% of that water? So the privatizing of our society is not okay, guys. I know we're in America first. I know it's like, capitalism. I get it. A lot of you guys just think it's this is we're dealing with crony capitalism or the kind that doesn't work. Well, this is what happens. We privatize everything, and we lose the ability for the people to control how they want their neighborhoods to present, how we were able to protect ourselves from these type of situations with our taxpayer money. Where does that go if everything is being bought up? BlackRock coming in, buying everything up. This is a result of capitalism. I'm sorry to, I know a lot of you guys want to believe that the left has gone too far left, whatever the hell that even means today. I don't even know what that means anymore. But the idea that there's some radical policy by Gavin Newsom, some radical idea that went too far commie, because I know a lot of you guys still think that. That's actually not how communism works. What we're seeing, and not to go down this debate of ideology and systems of government, as a natural place to start, we should just start this again without going down that path too deep. We should start with asking the question, what system are we in now? This is capitalism. What system is failing us right now? The system that we're in. Okay, that's a good place to start. Then we can start asking other questions. What other influences outside of that? What other things are going on? But this is the system right now that is failing. This is the system. I would actually go further and say it's not failing. It's actually acting exactly as it was intended to. Always an upward transfer of wealth, always a very few owning everything, everyone else owning nothing, always deregulating corporations. The creation of fascism comes from corporate control over government. So as we're saying, stop with all the government takeover, you guys are missing the part about the corporate takeover of the government and then the government takeover of the people, which then isn't the people anymore. So we lost the part about the people. We lost that part. The government is supposed to be the people. It is not. So however we got here, we can debate that for however long we need to. But one thing is clear, and I said it with Stephanie, I'll say it with you guys too. It doesn't matter how you look ideologically speaking at the world. We know that we're in trouble. We know that we're all on the same side, the people versus the power. That's the most important thing. So we're gonna continue to move forward with that. I don't even call it ideology, with that mindset that we're non-tribal, people versus power. We punch up. That's the way to go. Stop it with the divide and the red versus blue and the let's attack your neighbor. We're done with that. We're done with that. So thank you guys for being part of what we're doing here. Man, I am running a little over with some of the stuff we wanted to do. Let's figure this out. Maybe we could do a couple more. You know what? Let's do a few more things. I'll make one cut here. Let's see. Oh, this is funny. Forgot to show this one. You guys know what was going on? This is a funny little thing. Just for a little palate cleanser, as they say. Santa Monica, when the fires first started that first day, the warnings went out. The fire's coming. People were packing their bags, trying to get out. Guess what was happening in the street? Oh, I think those parking attendants were still at it. Yeah, this is funny. Look at this. Parking attendant has to give out his parking ticket. There you go. There you go. That's our profit over people system, guys, in effect. Got to get that money for the city. Got to get the money for the city. This is literally right before the fire comes in and probably right down that street, just like within an hour or two later. But got to get the parking ticket out. That's it. Profit over people, guys. Profit over people. All right, let's do one more story before we go. We got to cover Trump. We got to cover Trump. Okay, here we go. Here we go. We're going to do a real fake news update. I want to figure out what the hell is going on with Trump on this Israel issue. He is back and forth all over the place. We're going to figure out if this is real or fake in this week on a real fake news update. Here we go. It's time for our real fake news update, not brought to you by Pfizer. All right, today we are looking at Trump's back and forth on Israel. Let's start with the bad Trump, the devil on the shoulder Trump. Let's start with that one. This is the now infamous moment where he says all hell will be breaking loose in the Middle East. Specifically Gaza is what he's meaning, but he references the Middle East. If the hostages aren't released by January 20th. Oh, it's coming up in less than a week. Did you guys hear him say that? Let's hear it again. Let's hear it.
Those hostages aren't back. I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is.
So obviously Fox News audience is fine with that. And I say obvious because they've been pushing that the whole way. They've the whole point of we gotta hit Hamas harder than the Democrats. We have to kiss Israel's ass more than the Democrats. Okay. So can the media report honestly on that? I mean, Fox doesn't have to. That's easy. They just do that. They just play that. That's pretty easy. How does the other stations respond to that? Well, I don't have the clips of that here, but how do they respond to that? They have to do this little dance about how the Democrats are going to be more receptive to Gaza, but at the same time, Kamala had to go on that stage at the debate and had to say, no, we got Israel's back no matter what. So they are in a really, really bad spot there. Here's where things get a little more interesting. So Trump goes ahead, and if you guys didn't see this on Twitter, this blew up just a couple days ago, and I want to show you that this happened at the same time. So on one hand, he's saying all hell will be breaking loose in the Middle East, and then he goes and posts this clip of Jeffrey Sachs discussing the problems with Netanyahu and how he continues to bring us into war after war, endless wars, as if we are being not just guided but controlled by him. And Jeffrey Sachs calls him, I know you guys, if you guys haven't heard of them, he's calling him a son of a bitch. This is to Netanyahu. Trump tweeted this out. I kid you not. Check this out if you haven't seen it yet.
Let's hold back a moral one, a legal one. Is it significant? Or
the U.S. is the last holdout. And then there was another part of that interview where he does call Netanyahu a son of a bitch. When Trump is tweeting out this discussion or any part of this discussion, you guys just saw that clip from, What is that saying? How is Trump throwing? Is he throwing Netanyahu under the bus there, and then saying we're gonna have all hell break out in the Middle East if they don't get back the hostages? So this is both sides. He's playing both sides of this. And I threw this on a banner here. This is. I know there's a lot. I know people personally. We know people on the show, people that have been supportive of our show that have voted for Trump, saying that he's doing this. You guys heard this term, 5D chess. 5D chess. I don't know what that means anymore. It seems to me he's all over the place. But we can tell you this: the timing of him tweeting out just the clip of the little part of Jeffrey Sachs calling him a son of a bitch. This happened right after that. As you know, the inauguration, we're going to be covering this on Thursday with Craig Pasta, and we're going to have Don DeBar on with us. We're going to be discussing we're counting down the days to the inauguration, but this happened immediately after he tweeted this out. Netanyahu cancels his trip to DC for the inauguration. Let's find that where I got that right here. Hold on. Where is it? Hold on. One second. He cancels his trip to the inauguration. For some reason I'm not finding it. We had this. It's from RT. Okay. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to find this. RT tweeted, yes. Here we go. RT. Okay. This is you know what? I'm gonna edit in post. We'll put it up there. But if you guys haven't seen, Netanyahu cancels his trip to DC for the inauguration. Now we're in a weird place now, because now are we understanding that Netanyahu is looking at Trump as kind of a loose cannon that he can't trust? Kind of got a little Joker element to him. There has to be an order to things. We know there's an order to things. Everybody has to be in line for Israel, and so even the fact that he's tweeting that out a week before he's supposed to be in his inauguration, and now Netanyahu can't make it. I mean, this is very, very interesting timing on that. So we'll keep an eye on that. And again, we're going to be doing a deep dive on the lead up to the inauguration on the next show on Thursday, because there's stuff happening every day on that. We don't have time to get into a lot of it, but we know that the security amped itself up after Netanyahu cancels. Isn't that interesting? So we just found that out this morning. The security amped itself up. You would think that if the prime minister, who's wanted for crimes against humanity, for genocide he's committing right now, wanted by the International Criminal Court in several countries, there's only 4 countries he's not wanted in, and the U.S. is one of 4. He cancels his trip here, and now we amp up security. It's very interesting. So we're going to look closer at that on the next show. But the reason why this made real fake news, this is very important. As Biden is going out, we're seeing for the first time this election cycle, the mainstream media being honest, little bit honest, about Biden's complicity in the Gaza genocide. And his final plea, Biden's final legacy moment, is going to be $8 billion more in weaponry to Israel. Now, if he was doing this before the election, there's no way that MSNBC, Chris Hayes specifically, I'm going to pull this clip up right now. This really pulls the curtain back on the alignment of the media when they're reporting news. And now you have Chris Hayes, who I guess he feels like because we're 6 days from the inauguration, now it's okay. Somebody gave him the okay. Now it's okay to show how disgusting and basically against policy, against possibly illegal action this is, to even suggest that Biden's going to give $8 billion to a country who is wanted for crimes against humanity and an act of genocide against another people. right now. That you can't actually do that. How do we know that we can't do that? Like, it's actually against our own law. How do we know that? Well, Chris Hayes on MSNBC, out of all places, is going to explain this to us. It's called the Leahy Law. Watch Chris Hayes, and keep in mind the timing of this happened 1 week before the inauguration. Pay attention to this. This is a pull back the curtain moment, not just on Biden and his corruption and the Democratic Party funding a genocide, but on the media's complicity in defending it and protecting it until they didn't have to anymore. And I guess now is the time to let the guard down. Tell us, Chris Hayes, how bad is it?
At the end of the last World War, there have been basically two kind of competing visions of America's role in the world, at least among the two major parties. There's an international, liberal international view, right? That human rights should matter, that there should be a uniform standard globally that applies to every nation, including us, the U.S., and our allies. A regime of international norms, and most importantly, international law, like real international law, that the U.S. could shape and strengthen. Now, to be clear, I wasn't born yesterday. I'm not completely naive. Yes, that standard is one that is very, very often only given lip service to while the U.S. pursues pure power politics. But it is a meaningful and important standard, as is the aspiration towards reaching it and the people that advocate holding it as a standard. So that's one vision. And then there's a kind of standard reactionary vision, right-wing vision, which is that might makes right. Universal norms are fictions that can never really constrain us. We're the greatest country on earth. And because we are the greatest nation, it's just definitionally impossible for us or our allies to be on the wrong side of international law, which doesn't exist. And that view is strong and has a very long tradition. You could say it might have peaked or reached its apogee in the Cold War under Henry Kissinger, who sold successive administrations on dirty wars and proxy wars, funding, training, and arming right-wing militaries.
Okay, so I'm going to stop there. So the reason he can get away with it, okay, he's not wrong. All of this is correct. So he's going to tell the story that the right-wing administrations leading up to Nixon were pushing right-wing policy, which was that's the party. The right wing is the party that goes and starts these illegal wars and takes out democratically elected leaders and basically just kind of puts the wrath of the U.S. empire, puts it to work, whereas the Democrats don't do that. So he's going to tell the story as if only one side does it. So he's right about them doing it. But we have to just remember, guys, we know that it's always been both sides doing it. It's just how does the media spin it? So just keep that in mind when he's going. But this he's setting the foundation of then leading in for the kill. So pay attention. This is very important. He's going to lead into the kill for Biden and what Biden's doing in real time right now. So pay attention to the history lesson, selective history lesson, and then we'll get to the pull back the curtain moment of what's happening right now.
To oppose left-wing governments or activists. He enabled deadly terror in Chile and Argentina and South Africa and Indonesia, where, to be clear, Kissinger's support for a right-wing dictator led to the genocide of 200,000 East Timorese people by a U.S.-equipped army, one of the great moral stains of U.S. foreign policy in the last 60 years. In El Salvador, where U.S.-backed forces fueled a civil war and murdered Catholic bishops, Catholic nuns, and social workers, an outrage that led the Carter administration to suspend military aid to the nation. And as the Cold War finally wound down, there was one lawmaker who made an indelible contribution to rolling back these abuses and attempting to set a standard for American behavior abroad and the behavior of our allies that we armed. That was Senator Pat Leahy, Democrat of Vermont, in 1997.
So-called Leahy Law. It expands our current law and seeks to ensure that United States assistance does not go to individuals who abuse human rights, to do everything possible to assure that in our efforts to support foreign security forces that we respect human rights, we also prevent those who abuse human rights from receiving our assistance.
So the problem is this. The problem is that there is this exception to this law, which is Israel. And Leahy, as you guys, he was kind of old there. He's still alive today, as Chris Hayes is going to go. I'm gonna cut ahead because I don't want to have to go through this whole thing. but it's very important that he's connecting the dots right now, and that Leahy currently is saying you are not. The law was not intended to have Israel as an exception. In fact, it was written for this purpose, for the purpose of Israel thinking it can go around and blow up every one of its neighbors and occupy and destroy and genocide anything that. No, we no longer are allowed to give money to that. So let me get to the part where he brings it back here. And this is so interesting because now he's okay. So let me get to this part. Chris Hayes now on MSNBC now in mid-January is now allowed to admit that a genocide is going on in Gaza. You didn't tell us that at all for almost a year and a half. You didn't tell us anything about that. And now it's okay. Why? Because the Democrats don't have any power that they can get right now. So now it's okay to be honest. So let's hear from here.
As Congresswoman Katie Porter pointed out in a House hearing last year, the U.S. ban on arms transfers to human rights abusers, the Leahy law, has one big exception.
State Department says that aid should stop immediately if there's a problem. Does it?
It totally depends on the circumstances and situation.
Does it depend on the country that's getting the aid?
It also depends on the country receiving the aid. Yes.
So what country does aid not stop immediately under Leahy?
I'd have to go back and look through my notes.
You don't know what country that is? It's only one in the entire world. Guess what? Except for Israel.
Even now, former Senator Pat Leahy, who's no longer in the Senate, says Israel is getting a pass in violation of the spirit, if not the letter of the law, that he helped pass. Beginning in the early 2000s, I wrote to successive secretaries of state about the failure to apply the Leahy law to Israel. Their responses were either inconclusive or inaccurately claimed the law was being applied to Israel the same as to other countries, which the State Department continues to insist today.
So he's saying this entire system's rigged for Israel's benefit. The entire system's rigged. And Chris Hayes is admitting it on MSNBC. I'm still baffled by the fact that he can do this. But again, remember, this is because it's January, 1 week before the inauguration of Trump. He would never be able to report this if for whatever miraculous reason the Kamala won. No effing way could he do that. Now, how is Biden getting away with this plan for $8 billion? This is his little send-off to a country that is up for war crimes, which is absolutely breaking this Leahy law. And Patrick Leahy is saying this. He's saying this in real time. Well, this quote is from May 20th of last year. So this is very, very recent. This is during the post-October 7th. Again, I cannot get over the fact that MSNBC can do this. And Chris Hayes probably, if you ask Chris Hayes, he would say he can sleep at night. And we've heard him say that before, actually. There's language he's used before he had his own show, before he was making the big bucks, the big Pfizer, Moderna money, the big CIA money from MSNBC. When he was just a low-end weekend guy, he admitted this on a panel. I've seen him say it, that he can sleep at night because every once in a while he gets to do what he wants to do. He said that. So that's how he gives away the game plan of the media, of this real fake news. He gets to sleep at night because every once in a while he gets to be truthful and say Biden is going to be committing this horrible act of breaking our own law on his way out as president, who's supporting a war criminal that's wanted for war crimes all over the world. That's his last testament. And he's going to defend it that, the lead-in was that the Democratic Party isn't as bad as the Republican Party. You guys know that's not, they're all bad. But this idea that Biden is uniquely bad for doing this and putting a damper, putting an otherwise clean record Democrats, because you know what isn't in that report isn't anything that Obama or Hillary or Clinton did. We know that list. So to us, it's the same. Whether it's Bush or Cheney, it doesn't matter. It's the same shit. And then Trump's the wild card. Trump is the wild card because because Netanyahu seemingly can't trust the guy because he's just he can be a loose cannon at any time. So that's the best we're going to get, guys. That's the best we're going to get. We're going to get an honest report 5% of the time, maybe at best, lets these guys sleep at night. Meanwhile, we have a president coming in a week from now who at best has been playing both sides. And, you know, I guess you can call that 5D chess. I'm not, you know, there's a chance it's that. I know a lot of you guys hope it is. I mean, I hope it is. I just don't, I'm not going to hold my breath on the 5D chess, but that's all we got. That's all we got. And we have us. We have channels like ours and all the people we like to engage with and ask real questions, have real discussions, and not have to be told when it's okay. When it's okay to report on something. When it's okay to say the Democrats are funding a genocide. When it's okay to say the party that told you if you didn't vote for them this election cycle, you are a racist, you're a sexist, you're a misogynist, you're a Latin male voted for Trump, you're a misogynist. Well, Chris Hayes, are you telling us that part? Oh, we were lying to you about that. Maybe you didn't vote for Kamala because this piece of shit who got us into a genocide is still funding it in real time on his way out. It's still happening. So I guess thank you for having a little real news in there amongst all your fake news. That's it. I'm done. Real fake ass news update. Not brought to you by Pfizer. We're not brought to you by Pfizer. They are. But Chris Hayes, I hope you're able to sleep tonight because you gave us one little bit of truth today. Thank you so much. All right, that was our little news update with Trump. We'll keep an eye on that. Again, I told you guys we do have an election. We're going to be covering the inauguration. We might have a correspondent out in D.C. We're going to work on that if we can check in with them on the day after on Tuesday. But this Thursday, we're going to be going down a deep dive on that and what's going on with the security team with Trump. So I think we're almost at the top of the hour. You know what? I think we have time for one more story. I told you guys this in the opening. Let's do this. Let's do one. Let's do this one. This is fun. This is fun. This gives me a little hope. I don't want to end on a bad note. I want to end on a good note. I think it's time for Loudest Voice of the Week. These ones can be fun sometimes if you get a good one. I think this is a good one. Here we go, guys. We're going to do Loudest Voice of the Week, and then we'll read a few more of your guys' comments before we peace out. Okay, here we go. Loudest Voice of the Week. Coming right up. It's time for another installment of Loudest Voice of the Week. Sometimes we cover the breaking points people have at their end of their line. They're going down in flames. We catch it on camera. Somebody puts it on TikTok, Twitter, and we watch them go down in flames. Other times it's a little more strategic, a little more of a planned operation where we have a protest or a confrontation, a resistance movement. We love covering those too. This is the third type we like to cover. This one is fun because this one is not planned. It is a kind of a combo of those two options. They're kind of together. You know, this is a breaking point for this woman. She's going to be confronting Gavin Newsom on his inability to do anything for people who just lost their homes to fires here in LA this last week. You might have seen this before, but I'm showing it to you guys again because just remember when you watch it, and if you're watching this for a first time or second time or third time, when you see this, remember that this woman is at a breaking point and she's in a place where it nothing else matters but to plead with this guy, this leader. This is the way politics is supposed to work. When we are the people have an opportunity, you have a little window. Watch what she does with this window. We can argue all day. I've seen people argue about the way Gavin Newsom responded. That's also funny to talk about, the cell phone, all this stuff. Let's play this for you guys if you haven't seen it, and let's break it down. Again, while you watch it, remember, this is the way politics is supposed to work. The people challenging power. Watch what she does.
Governor, I live here, Governor. That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
California Governor Gavin Newsom is being criticised by some for water mismanagement as hydrants ran dry while fires multiplied.
So I have to get cell service.
So let's get it. Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
I appreciate it. I'm doing that right now. And it's to immediately get reimbursements, individual assistance, and to help you. I'm devastated for you. I'm so sorry, especially for your daughter. I have 4 kids losing the school.
Everyone who went to school there, they lost their homes. They lost 2 homes because they were living in one building another. Governor, please tell me, what are you going to do with the president right now?
We're getting the resources to help rebuild.
Why was there no water in the hydrants, Governor?
That's all literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be. Has to be. Of course.
What are you going to do?
I'm doing
to fill the hydrants. I would fill them up personally. You know that.
I literally have.
I would fill up the hydrants myself.
I would. I understand.
But would you do that?
So I'm pausing this. We'll play that. We'll play it out in a second. But man, oh man, every time I see this, I get chills because I think about you have to be desperate to be able to do that. But we can also do it without being desperate. We can also do that when our home isn't destroyed. We can do that on behalf of people that are. And that's what you call citizen journalism. That's the way it's supposed to work. So when we see Anderson Cooper on the last week's show, you guys saw us making fun of Anderson Cooper for his stage theater with NEWSOM, where he's not doing any journalism. It's all pre-approved questions, pretending to be dramatic. This is what he needs to be asked, and he knows it, and that's why he thinks he can take this woman on. The reason why this is so good is that she doesn't stop. He thinks he's going to beat her with one last little, we got you, and she's going to be done. No, she says, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? How is it going to be different? That's journalism. That's what Anderson Cooper is supposed to do. He'll never do it. So you guys just remember that. Again, we can talk about Newsom and his inability, whether that worked for him or not. We know it didn't. We know it's crap. The whole phone thing is just a joke. But let's just, I think there's a couple more seconds of this. Hold on here.
I would do whatever I can.
But you're not. I see do you know there's water dripping over there, Governor? There's water coming out there. You can use it.
Emotions running high and understandably residents wanting answers, especially.
Yeah, emotions running high. Residents wanting answers. Residents conducting journalism. Citizen journalism. What are you going to do about it? What is it, Gavin Newsom? What are you going to do? How can you show me right now that what you're saying isn't a lie? That's journalism. You are a person in power. I'm keeping you accountable by asking you. The question is, what are you going to do? And then when you answer it, you say, what are you going to do to prove to me that you're not lying to me to my face right now? Here's your track record. Here's where you haven't come through for us before. What are you going to do so I know you're not lying right now? That's how journalism is supposed to work. So bravo to the desperate woman. It's too bad you have to be desperate in order to be able to assert yourself like that and not let him go. He thought he could walk away. His handlers were like, is he really doing this? He thought it could be really quick. He screwed that one up. And that cell phone was a complete joke. We know he wasn't trying at that moment. He might have tried to whatever, and he thought he could go with that. If you notice, the first thing he said was that I'm on with him now, so he can't undo that he said that. He tried to spin it later. Whatever. That guy's a putz. He's a poser. Enough about Gavin Newsom, but a shout out to the loudest voice of the week again, to this woman, showing the rest of us how journalism, citizen journalism, is supposed to work. Bravo. Okay, I think we're wrapping it up now. That should be it. Let's look at some of your guys' comments on I can't call it talking back. I can't do this like Leslie can do it. I just can't do it. But hey, Leslie's writing in right now. Oh, this is the Newsom clip with the angry mother. Good for her. Exactly. And we wanted to give that twist to it, that we're not just looking at him botching this. We're looking at the woman accomplishing what she accomplished. So that was it. Bravo again to the woman going after Newsom. People in power need to be held accountable. Let me take a few others here. I can also put these up when we do the close. This is important. Thank you for this, all sentient beings. To the people defending the President of the United States' actions, Lahaina's people have not gotten any more money. So go figure. And this was about the $770 we just heard. This is, let Leslie put this up. Thanks you. Yes, $770 one-time payment. It's an insult to the American people. Exactly. Thank you for that, guys. I want to get this one up from ChatterX. Thanks for tuning in, ChatterX. Reagan's secretary was a notorious Nazi that brought Nazis into powerful positions, such as Otto von Bolschwing, partners to Gavin Newsom's dad. Interesting. Partners with Newsom's dad. Man, these family lines, these family chains. It ceases to amaze me, all these connections. We talk about skull and bones and the family lineage, and we all bought it at the time that Obama was this this guy coming in from the outside, and turned out his lineage. I mean, everybody's lineage. It's insane. This is let's do a couple more of these. We haven't mentioned Trudeau today. Joker's for you. Are Newsom and Trudeau the same demon? They're both controlled by the same entity. They're both controlled, whatever it is, WEF. We saw the Klaus Schwab clip. Klaus Schwab loves to joke or gloat about all the people, all the henchmen he has in every government. We know he had them in Trudeau's government. Trudeau, he couldn't do it anymore. He had to throw in the towel. I can't keep being a pawn for something bigger than me. That's the thing. So it's not these people, making poor decisions. It's not Gavin Newsom making poor decisions. It's not, by the way, it's not Karen Bass. We covered her last week's show. Karen Bass not being able to speak. Somebody told us Karen Bass not being able to speak when she was asked, what are you going to do for the people of Los Angeles? And she said nothing. Somebody reminded me that reminded them of George W. Bush, circa 2001, September 11th, 2001, more particularly, reading the book My Pet Goat at a classroom in Florida, where he was unable to do any presidenting when he got the word in his ear. Somebody whispered in his ear, we're being attacked, sir, and he sat and did nothing. And we thought at the time that was an indication of his inability to lead. That was also an indication of his incompetence. It was also an indication of something. We went on to label him somebody not that bright. When people said, you think Bush planned 9/11? We said, well, no, he's an idiot. We think the people around him did, and he didn't know what to do. I'm going to let you guys know right now, we got that kind of wrong. I mean, not all that's true, but there's a piece that's a very big piece to the puzzle that we missed then. We can see it now. That piece of the puzzle is that it's not relevant whether George W. Bush or Karen Bass today is smart enough or articulate enough or leader-like enough to say something to the people, to make a presidential decision, a leadership. That's insignificant and inconsequential. The only thing that's consequential in their skill set is their ability to take orders, their ability to listen to instructions, their ability to sell it like it's their own idea, their ability to bend over and take it, and their ability to protect the thing that they are pretending to lead. That's the only thing. So you have to actually give them credit for that skill set. Bush wasn't as stupid. Oh, he might be stupid. The stupidity part doesn't matter. Karen Bass doesn't matter. She wasn't silent the other day. Karen Bass, what do you have to say to the people in Los Angeles about what do you have to say? Something. She wasn't mute because she was brain dead. She was mute because her handlers hadn't given her the cue yet. of what was okay to say. She was waiting. That's it. That's why George W. Bush stayed in his seat with My Pet Goat being read to the classroom in 2001. It's not because he didn't know how to president. It's because he knew exactly how to president. How to president is you wait for your next instruction. That's it. That's all that is. We'll do a couple more, and then we'll peace out here. Let's see. Appreciate all your guys' support here. Oh, thank you, iCare22. I will promote your show on other live streaming platforms. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, I like this one. Gregory Theodore, Hollywood has already been canning to move to Las Vegas. Just scorch the old Hollywood and file a claim to pay for the new $1 billion studio. Vegas. I guess that sounds about right. We've seen other places like Atlanta. Oh, shoot. We lost our background there. Hold on a second. I think, just give me 1 second, guys, because we are going to end the show here, but I just want to make sure you guys can see me right now. Okay. Wow, that was weird. Media assets, get the background back on. Here we go. Man, StreamYard is weird. That was strange. Okay. There we go. Okay. We're ending it now. Okay. Here we go. Thank you for that comment. The $1 billion studio. Yeah, we're gonna look at that. See how far they go with that in Vegas. But yeah, I think we're done here. I do. I actually think we are done here. Here's one. We'll do one last one from Jokers for you. We appreciate all your guys' comments today. Journalists wouldn't have to bombard people if they were ever actually available to be questioned by the public. Journalists. That's right. You wouldn't have to. That's correct. That's it. But of course they're going to have their handlers, protecting them. But then you would just do it harder. But we would understand. The public would understand that that's the way journalism is supposed to work. And so whoever does it harder should get the paycheck for it. That's how it should be. Whoever is better at being like that woman was in the earlier clip, whoever's better at it should be the one that gets the paycheck. That's you should get applauded for that. You should not be applauded for protecting the corporations that pay your paycheck. You should not be applauded for that. That's not journalism. That's called propaganda. Okay. I think that should about do it. Thank you guys so much. I'll throw a few more up on the way out. As you guys know that watch our show a lot, you know that we like to end with a fun ending, something thoughtful or witty or funny. The top of the show, we played you guys the Carter funeral, and there was a fun, and that one was actually on Trump's. So he likes to post funny shit these days, I guess. He posted a funny take of the conversation going on between him and Obama at the Carter funeral. All those big leaders were there. It was pretty remarkable to see. So let's go out with one more take of of President Carter's funeral with Kamala's inner monologue. This one is hilarious. So we're going to get that one set up. And then I'll let you guys know if you haven't. Actually, I'm sorry, I can only do one thing at a time here. So there we go. Setting up the outro. And then I'm going to let you guys know we will be back on Thursday for our next episode. We have Craig Pasta coming back with us. We have Don DeBar. It's going to be awesome. We're going to go. We got a lot of stuff to cover with the inauguration coming up in D.C. around the corner. We have so much else to get to as well. So it's going to be a great show. We'll be back with top censored news of the week, of course. Some other stuff that we might not be able to play on our YouTube channel. But for now, if you guys haven't yet, please get into our new YouTube. Our YouTube is, what happened to it? Oh, here we go. This is it. This is our new YouTube. All right. This is experimental, just for the experiment of it. They terminated our last one. Let's see if we can get away with being THL Presents. So we're not saying the Homeless Left. We're saying THL Presents. Get on there with us. We're on there right now. And of course, Homeless Left on Rumble and Twitter X all the time, every week, twice a week now. Don't forget to show support at locals. We love that. We love you guys. This has been a fun show. I like this. I like doing some Tuesdays and Thursday action for you guys moving on forward. We're here. We're still here. We ain't going anywhere. Left is bigger now than I ever thought it would be. We welcome anybody who's now lost their house, lost what they thought was a solid thing. They thought their team had their back. They thought that if they just voted enough, voted harder, gave more money, showed up, that they thought their tribe would get their back. Turns out they won't, because they don't do that. That's it. That's all. Oh, and I just want to say, this is great. Thank you. Thank you for all the support on here from all you guys. I saw some of these come through just now. We're going to throw up some more comments in the end. Thank you all. We'll see you guys on Thursday with Craig and with Don. I think that's it. Thank you today to Jay Scott and to Stephanie Pierucci. We're going to have them back on again. Love the conversations. We'll have more to get to next time. That's it. Let me just do one more of this. Watch app. Please, please, please. It's called Watch Duty. You guys can get this app and check on any of your loved ones in LA. If you haven't heard from them, you might at least find out what part of town they're in. Put in your location wherever you're at in the planet, and then go over to LA area. You can go scroll right into them. You can just zoom right into them and figure out what their status is right now. It's called Watch Duty app. Please do that. And one more plug for this, Decon Pack. If you guys are here with us and you're suffering from any breathing issues, or you might in the future because of the smoke, go to Decon Pack, grab yourself some supplements. We're going to be doing that for the next several months for sure, as we have to, we have to cleanse ourselves from all the toxins out there. So we appreciate that from Stephanie. Thanks, Stephanie Pierucci, and to Jay Scott. We'll see them next time. That's about it for today. Peace out, guys. We'll see you on Thursday. I'm out. Power to the people. Homeless love. See you Thursday.
Well, this gotta be the best way to end the worst week of my life. Barack and Trump sitting next to each other. Okay, y'all want to play games. Keep testing me. Keep on testing me. I need to hear what they talking about, but Doug is as dumb as he is deaf. This man is as useless as Tim's tampons. I need to hear what's going on. Barack got bigger balls than Michelle for doing this to me. Maybe I'm just overreacting. All right, Kamala, it's game time. Pretend to read and just try to focus on what they say. Maybe Barack is telling him off. Maybe you got this all wrong. I bet he's telling him we can't wait to lock his ass up. You tell him, Barack. Is he giggling? So first I gotta tolerate the Benghazi bitch getting a Medal of Honor, and now this? Alright, you know what? Y'all are already on thin ice. If one person says one more damn thing to me, I swear to God. Oh, the power couple is here. Of course Jill sits next to me. Alright, Kamala. If she says some shit to you, I just gotta be graceful, right? I gotta be a joyful warrior. Ooh, bitch, you got me fucked up. Jill, I will unburden you. I will unburden what has been. I will unburden